Welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 65. How are you guys doing today? We have special guests on the show today. You guys can sort of see him behind us here. We have, Mike Odyssey as always. He's right here. He's so close he could kiss my cheek. There we go. How's it going, Mike?
I hear nothing. I hear nothing at all. Wait, am I hearing myself? I hear nothing at all, and then I hear Nate next time screaming out like, "What the heck?"
Oh my gosh, we have one of the most insane setups of all time right now. So we'll get into this in a moment. We also have Sunbro Nation on. How's it going, bud?
Going great. Excited to be here for the second time. So thanks for inviting me back. I wasn't sure if it would be a one and done, but hey, look at us here. It's time for round number 2.
Anyone who's willing to come on more than once is welcome on. I mean, you can come on twice a week, even though it's only a once a week show.
I appreciate it, guys. Seriously, happy to be here.
That's awesome. Obviously, across from the table here, you guys know my co-host is always Mr. Eric Moore.
Hello, everybody.
We're making podcast history by total accident today.
Yep.
We are live on 4 different platforms and 2 different YouTube channels. And let me explain how this happened. Because it wasn't the plan today.
It's fantastic.
I was setting up the podcast, and I was logged into the podcast channel. And I was literally editing podcast episodes and sending links to things, and we're trying to get the audio stuff taken care of. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, well, I got to go set up the stream. So I go to set up the stream, and it still says the podcast channel on the logo, but it set up the stream on the Nintendo Prime YouTube channel. Now, the thing is, we don't actually stream the podcast on the Nintendo Prime YouTube channel anymore. So all of you guys watching over on the Nintendo Prime YouTube channel, enjoy the treat. If you actually enjoy the podcast, you're going to want to head over to the podcast YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell notification there, because the podcast didn't go anywhere, in case you didn't know. It's been live there every single Wednesday for the last month. But here's the problem. As soon as you set up a live stream, it uses up a notification slot on your channel. So the notifications were already going out for the wrong channel. So I was like, okay, we'll just stream it on the wrong channel. That was my initial reaction. And then I said, wait a second. I have an account with Restream. We can stream to the podcast channel at the same time. So I set up it on the podcast channel, which we had 34 people choosing to watch it over on the podcast channel. So thank you so much for that.
Heck yeah.
So that's all cool. And then I realized, because I have an account at Restream, and we're already streaming on 2 YouTube channels, why not stream everywhere that we can? So we're streaming right now, live on Twitter. That's right. Did you know you can stream on Twitter?
Hello to
found
watchers.
out today. So we have 2
I didn't
people.
know you could do that. That's crazy.
We have 2 people choosing to watch on Twitter only. So that's cool. We're also live on Facebook.
We got
for the
3
first,
of those people.
We have 3 people on Facebook, and then Twitch as well, where I think there was only 1. We have 3 people now on Twitch, actually. Hold on. The numbers are going up.
Yes, they are.
Now, some people might go, but I thought you couldn't stream on Twitch and everything else. You're not supposed to be able to. So we'll see how long it takes for Twitch to shut down my channel. Good thing I don't really care about my Twitch channel. I was already debating, actually, of streaming everything over on Twitch anyways, just for the hell of it, until Twitch decides to shut me down, because I really don't care about my Twitch account. But some people like Twitch, so why not? And plus, you can use your free Amazon membership at twitch.tv/Nintendo Prime TV.
Maybe for only another day.
I'll take it for only, I don't know. I've actually done this before where I've streamed over there, and they didn't really get mad at me. So I don't know. Now we have 7 people. Now we have 7 people on Twitch. So, and yes, folks, I have all the chats open. So
This is crazy.
yes, this is the most insane stream I've ever done. This feels like what I should have did for Prime Gaming Fest, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways,
hey, how about that?
Doesn't really matter. We're here. We're live. We have a lot to talk about today. I don't even have the podcast doc open right now, because I was so, I didn't know what was going to happen when I hit go live, and it just worked. So credit to Restream for actually working and doing what I thought you'd do. And thank you to Paul Gale Network as well for the $1.99 kickoff. Sunbro and Eric, Mike in the house. Pound it. Fist pound it.
Heck yeah.
Double fist pound it. All right. So we have a lot to talk about, but the very first thing we always do at the beginning of every podcast is go over what the hell have we been playing lately, if anything. I always have to add if anything, especially when I got this guy. You didn't leave your Switch here today.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Eric actually brought his Switch home. For a while, I have like 7 Switches in my house when he leaves here.
Right.
So let's start it with Eric. What have you been playing lately? Yes.
Yes. No, I think I did play some TMNT.
I know you played something. I saw your account online for a moment.
Yeah, I think I played some TMNT. I don't remember. God, this week has just been insane.
Now you got to clarify.
So-
we're talking about.
I haven't bought Cowabunga yet, so
Okay. So,
that's getting there.
Okay, so Shredder's
Shredder's
Revenge.
Revenge, yes.
Just clarifying.
Yes, no,
'cause
yeah.
Apparently, the Cowabunga Collection, which I also don't own yet, is one of the greatest retro collections ever made.
Oh, hell yeah.
They
Nice.
did a really good job with it. The comics are in it. I don't know. Apparently, it's amazing. I don't know. This is just what I've read. Can't always believe everything you see on the internet, but everyone seems to be telling me that this is the one to get. I'm a big TMNT guy, old school TMNT guy. Cool. Let's go over to how about Sumbro, buddy? What have you been doing?
Yeah. So, okay, back in the day, I got a little story behind this. Back in the day, in anticipation to every new Zelda title, this is whenever I was a kid and I had time, I tried to play through the entire Legend of Zelda series in anticipation of the new release. That's not possible anymore, clearly. But I realized it's been a long time since I played Breath of the Wild, and when I was out like sick for a full week, I started up a file, and then once I got back to my regular schedule, I kind of like put it on the back burner again. I was like, I only got past like the first Divine Beast. My fiance saw me playing it, and she picked it up and got hooked, and she actually never played it before, so she's at the second Divine Beast. Anyway, long story short, I went out and had to buy a second copy of Breath of the Wild, seeing her play it all the time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to play all the way through, and now I'm hooked. Second Divine Beast right now, Breath of the Wild, put in like, I don't know, probably close to 20 hours in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and just loving every minute. That game is a masterpiece on the Switch. I'm going to have to make a video soon how it's still, in my opinion, the best game on the Switch to date, period. And I think Breath of the Wild 2 will be even better. So
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Sweet.
even though it's technically a Wii U game, but still, it's technicality.
Well, I mean, hey, it's just what game you play. I don't really care what one you do. Let me see. What have I been playing lately? I might be the only one who didn't play anything this week. Let me think for a second. Hold on.
Ooh.
Hold on. Let me grab my Switch. Hold on. Give me a second here. I did buy Splatoon 3
I just
today.
started playing TMNT.
I mean,
so
I
played
can't
something.
play it yet, but I did. I definitely didn't play anything on Switch.
Yeah.
Since the Splatfest was still open, and that was 2 weeks ago. So
Fun.
so I definitely didn't play anything on Switch. I actually did play some Age of Empires 4 though. For anyone who
still gotta
likes in those RTS kind of games on PC, I did play a few hours of Age of Empires 4. Otherwise, the spare free time I've had, because it's gotten really hectic lately, the spare free time I've had, besides the YouTube stuff, has been spent on, well, catching up on 2 brand new shows that started, including Rings of Power on Amazon and House of the Dragon on HBO.
I started that one today. Yesterday, the Rings of Power one.
Yep.
I've been halfway through the first episode.
Nice. So I'm all caught up on those. So now that I'm caught up on those, I don't really have any other shows I'm actively watching at the moment. I'm caught up on everything I care about. Although, then a new season of Cobra Kai is dropping, and a new episode of
Resident Alien.
is dropping tomorrow. But that's only one
tonight.
episode. Oh,
That's
it's
tonight.
Okay, well, I'll
yeah.
end up
That's
watching it with
tonight.
Julia tonight. Eric's all, I don't know.
When is
He needs a
it?
new
Wait,
pair of
what?
pants. Resident
What's-
Alien.
Resident Alien.
Where? Netflix?
Peacock.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi. It's a sci-fi channel show, but it streams on Peacock.
Okay,
Freaking fantastic.
Gotta check it out.
It's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
If you want a comedy.
Let's put it this way. I pointed it out to Nate and I said you should watch this. A day and a half later, I'm caught up. we're talking
almost 2 full seasons?
Yeah, almost 2 full seasons. The first season's 10 episodes. The second season
I
at
thought
that
it was
point
10.
was at 8, I think, at that point. And these are 45-minute episodes. So
Yeah.
That's how-
Here's
that's
the
how-
thing. I was watching it. I was like 3 episodes in. Then Yulia gets home from work. She sees it. She's like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, "Just watch for a second. What is happening? Can we start over?" So I actually had to watch the first 3 episodes all over again.
oh darn.
Oh darn. Anyways, yeah, no, Resident Alien is really, really good. So if you guys haven't heard of it, haven't checked it out, why don't you guys go check it out? And yeah, let me know what you think. You know, I probably could have watched it without Peacock because I actually have DirecTV. But no, it only had season 2 on. That's right. That was the key.
Yes.
They only had
Yes,
season
yes,
2
yes,
on demand.
yes,
Didn't
yep,
have
yep,
season
yep,
1.
yep.
That's why we needed Peacock
Yep.
because
Oh, Eric, look, write down the name of the show on Discord because I will forget and I want to watch it. You guys have me intrigued now. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
wait.
Dude, it's hilarious. It's,
I'll put a notepad
comedy.
to myself.
I love comedies.
I still gotta add you to Discord.
Julia's favorite parts are anytime the alien talks to the kid, and you'll understand when you watch.
Yes. Yes.
It's hilarious. Anyways, yeah, Cobra Kai, new season of that drops on Friday. So I guess I do have some stuff to watch, but Cobra Kai not until Friday. I think. Let me see. I don't know when Rings of Power drops. Is that also on Friday? I can't remember what day. Maybe that's tonight. I don't know. The new episode of Rings of Power randomly drops, and HBO's on Sunday. But again, I have nothing where I'm binging. Well, then Cobra Kai is coming. But I have nothing that I'm binging like 18 episodes. So I don't know, guys. And you might go, but Nate, don't you like gaming more than you like TV shows? I would say I like them pretty equally.
Yeah.
The difference is I don't like passionately talking about shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's kind of like just for me to enjoy, and then I kind of move on my day. Like, hey, you want to talk about House of the Dragon? Cool. I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to watch and enjoy and move on.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's the way I am. But games are different because I like talking about them and playing them. Hence why I do what I do. Now people go, but you haven't been playing. Hey, dude, Splatoon 3 is about to drop, and let me tell you, not only do we have a launch stream, we have a launch stream on the Nintendo Prime channel on Friday night.
Podcast channel or
no, the Nintendo Prime channel. We're doing a launch stream on the Prime
Okay.
channel for Splatoon 3. We're also going to end up streaming it a heck of a lot over on the Nintendo Prime podcast channel, which I know people get confused. So what's happened is live streams hurt my channel. Just straight up. They hurt the Nintendo Prime channel. I did some testing last week, and it turns out that every time I live stream, my videos immediately stop getting views. Immediately. It's like a cutoff valve. They just YouTube algorithm is like, oh, you're streaming now. Well, then you're not then the video doesn't matter anymore. We're gonna shut off the
this is
views.
the only thing that matters right now.
So if you guys have noticed, when you've seen a lot of my videos where it's getting like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the views are climbing and climbing, it's because I stopped streaming on my Nintendo Prime channel. Now, tonight's streams is just a total happy accident, I guess, for you guys. And it actually happened on a good day because my video was already performing poorly anyways. So I guess I don't really care as much about this episode of Prime 5 because it wasn't doing well regardless. And that's after 3 different thumbnail change and 4 different titles. It clearly is not going to do anything. There's no recovering the fact that nobody wants to hear about the Pokemon news for the 17th time. So
That's true. That is true. That's so true.
I mean, the bottom line is nobody comes to my channel for Pokemon. That's I know this. So, but I still going to cover it because I want to cover it. But when that's the big story of the day, unless I'm going to clickbait you guys with like a fake Switch UI in the thumbnail, I'm not going to get you into a Pokemon video. It's just the way it is. So, I mean, I guess I could have talked about a story that I think is a non-story, which I did yesterday, because so Mike, you know that patent of yours that had that update on the 30th.
Yeah.
Nothing talked about by you or any of these other channels was any different than what was already in the patent on December 15th of 2021.
Yeah. So I mean, I knew the patent wasn't new.
Yeah. No, I knew that. You knew it was an old patent.
So that's why I didn't really talk about the how they jump in the sliding in the angles and how shooting. I just spoke more about the Switch because I was more excited about the Edition Switch than I was more about the schematics of the whatever how you play it. But what if I was to tell you all that Switch stuff was also there back in December? Yeah. So I mean, that's
so. But see, this is the thing. I don't blame you because.
No.
Because one, I remember back when you were covering it, you didn't go like super in depth into the patent anyways, because it was, I mean, if you guys ever read a patent, it's extremely verbose, and there's a lot of images, a lot of technical things, and I'm gonna be honest, I read the entire patent back then, and it was a pain in the ass. So I didn't blame you, but then I sat there like, but you were right. It does say it was updated on August 30th.
Something about it was updated. Maybe not the text. Maybe
the text wasn't updated. The images weren't updated. The only thing I could think of was like, was there a spelling error? And they're like, oh,
maybe.
I think RGT today said that there was an image that wasn't there. One image that you found that wasn't there.
Well, okay, so I went through all the images in the patent today, and I didn't show all. So I didn't show all the images myself in my original video, but Zeltic another YouTuber did, and he showed him scrolling through all the images, and every single image that's in the patent today was in his video 8 months ago.
Okay,
So-
maybe they forgot to put a period somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it could have been like a minor correction.
Kind of like a contract thing, so they have to make sure that they have all the correct
Yeah.
information, even if it's
They forgot to dot that one eye.
But I mean,
Exactly.
I would say it's still noteworthy that, hey, they did something to it. Just I
Yeah.
have no idea what the hell they did to it. And it's Breath of
But
the
it's
Wild 2 related. So an excuse to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 is a good excuse to me.
and it's relevant because I spoke about the Switch edition, and then Nintendo just released a Pokemon Switch. So
Yeah.
I was gonna
After
say,
we
it
just
sounded more
got
to
this
me
Splatoon
Mike
one.
predicted the future with that video.
Back to
because
back.
The day that he's talking about, a day before a new Switch OLED model drops that nobody expects, he's talking about a Breath of the Wild 2 themed Switch, which now seems incredibly way more likely. That'll be part of my video tomorrow. I mean, I think it's gonna happen.
thank you so much, son, bro. Thank you for your support, man. I appreciate you.
You got it.
And I'm just like, yeah, it was a non-story. But hey,
Hey.
I covered it because
Yeah.
you know what? This is also my fault because I was like, hey, the Switch thing's in there. This is new. I personally didn't because when I read the original patent, I kind of skipped the entire Switch stuff because I didn't care about the Switch aspect
go.
of it.
to
So
go.
I just assumed it wasn't there, and then I actually went back and looked. Like, oh yeah, it was actually there the whole time. Whoops. Well, I made a mistake too, but
You made two
But-
mistakes.
it's
Two
okay. It's okay.
Two mistakes.
Nobody's
okay.
counting.
At least I didn't pretend that we were learning about
Mike
new
is-
mechanics we didn't know before when we actually already know.
No,
about it.
you made that mistake, and you forgot to ask me what I was playing this week.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, I was still gonna get to you.
Yeah.
I wasn't done with me
Oh wait, okay. Good.
because
This is wrapping into what he's been playing apparently.
yes, it does. It does
what did you do
because
with
I did the blasphemous thing, the thing that people get mad at me for.
Oh,
But
no.
I had to see for myself what happens if a Switch Pro comes out. I ran Breath of the Wild in 4K on an emulator on my TV.
No, fair enough.
I wanted to see. I wanted to see
bastard.
what a
Oh, man,
Switch
you're
Pro
fine.
could do. Now, it's native, so like that's not what's gonna happen. But still,
Yeah.
I had to get a tease. And then I quickly pressed delete before all the Nintendo fans hate me. I literally got like I didn't even get through the first shrine. Nope, I'm good. I just wanted to see what it looked like without watching a compressed YouTube video, and it was pretty glorious. 4K
Okay.
Breath of the Wild's pretty damn glorious.
yeah.
And it was running at 60 FPS, which is even
I might play it again whenever if it comes out 4K. We can play it in 4K. I might play it again just to see just to have the experience.
I just had to know. Because I had that suspicion just in case Nintendo decides to pair it with Breath of the Wild 2. Just in case. It's a just in case moment for me. I wanted to know. I couldn't wait. I'm sorry, guys. I got impatient. Don't sue me. Okay? I know some of you guys love emulating games. Some of you don't. I'm not here to debate that. I'm just saying I had to give it a try. And I bought like 7 copies of the game, and I have like 5 Switches, so I think I'm good. Well, morally
I
good.
need to
Morally
do
good.
that. I need to do that myself, but I'm afraid that if I look at that for even a second,
You
that I
never want to
won't
go back to
play-
Switch. Well,
Yeah, then I
the
won't
benefit
wanna
for
play
me
the
is
Switch
I don't
version.
have an OLED TV, so even on that's one way I balance it. I was like, look, it still looks amazing on the OLED screen, and I don't have an OLED screen outside of my TV and my phone. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not my TV, the Switch and my phone. Sorry. Anyways, that being said, Mike, what have you been playing lately?
So, very kind of funny that a lot of Breath of the Wild has been bringing up because I also play Breath of the Wild. I don't know. I just had the urge to play it, turn it on. I mean, all my hearts were there. Everything was kind of. I just like turn it on and just started wandering around looking for those little things to kill here and there. What do you call those things again? I forgot. Those spider guys with the monsters and the
Talking about the Guardians.
Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I don't consider them to be spiders. I was so confused.
I can see it.
Spider
I
monsters.
get it. I get it.
can
Lots
see
of
it.
Spider
legs.
monsters.
Anyway.
Spider monsters with a robot eye. Huh?
There you go.
I can see it.
They shoot laser beams from their eyes.
I can watch an entire movie, love it, and instantly forget every single character's name. Like, what was it?
Happens.
Yeah, I'm like, so that's the kind of guy I am. But playing that game, I played that game. I play Animal Crossing. Play with my daughter, Animal Crossing. My villagers told me, hey, we haven't seen you in 2 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
I also played. I'm still playing this game that I forced to review, have to do it is that I spoke about it last podcast. That toilet game, I think it's called Boat Wars or something. Smash Boats.
Oh,
Yeah,
Smash
that's right,
Boats.
Smash
Smash
Boats.
Boats.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
You were telling us about that last week. That sounded awesome.
Yeah. Did you look it up?
No, I gotta.
No,
I gotta
but
do that.
I, that
it's
one
fun.
parking game I need to try out though. That's coming out.
It's fun. It is really fun. It's really fun, especially if you're playing with other people. But man, when you get to hit that toilet level, you play in the toilet with the yellow water, and everything looks a little too real. and this little brown thing comes floating around, and like
Oh.
it's horrible, man. Horrible. So I had to finish that, unfortunately. And then
This
just
game does look kind of
build.
cool.
I did that. Watch a whole bunch of movies. Started watching that Lord of the Rings thingy on Amazon Prime. And then I'm building an all-in-one setup. I'm pretty sure you guys seen it on YouTube. It's like an all-in-one setup for my camera, lighting, laptop, everything, so I can roll it around the studio, and I can just pick where I want to make the video. So it's on wheels. It's like a wheel thing with a whole bunch of arms. Looks like a monster.
Yeah.
And it has an arm for the camera, an arm for lighting, an arm for the boom mic, and an arm for my the MacBook. So I've been working on that pretty good. So I'm excited to show you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you had discovered a new boss for Breath of the Wild 2, because that thing looked creepy when you showed me it.
What thing?
Your new tentacled arm holds everything.
It looks very creepy. But it's super cool because you just close it up, right? All the arms, and just roll it to the corner when you're done. Or you can just roll it around the room. And since the boom is I have a Sennheiser something boom mic, so I can use it anywhere I want around the room. So I'm planning on doing
Boom.
show off more of my thousands of dollars that I spend around the room. I mean, I've been sitting in this chair for such a long time in the channel that I'm looking for a change of look and scenery. So I'm excited about that, man. I'm waiting on my MacBook to come in the mail.
By the way, shout out to the 3 people who have now told me they have my stream open on every single platform and both YouTube channels. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. So, by the way, I think there's only 2 of you. One of you are lying because there's only I think 2 people watching on Twitch. Wait, there's 0 watching on Twitter. Someone you liar. You close my Twitter. Anyways,
You bastards.
anyways, I do appreciate though. I know we have some people watching on the podcast channel and on the Nintendo Prime channel. For people who want to know what's going to happen with this episode, this video version, the video version is going to go down on the Nintendo Prime channel. It's not going to stay up after. But over on the podcast channel, it will remain up. So I will appreciate if our mods kind of share the podcast channel over on the Nintendo Prime channel to let people know that's where we actually do most of our live streams. We don't stream a whole lot on Nintendo Prime anymore besides launch streams and then special events like Prime Gaming Fest or like Nintendo Directs and stuff like that. But which we might be talking about today. I don't know. I mean, it's in the title.
Maybe.
But before we do that, our first topic actually is about a lost Zelda game, a canceled Zelda game. And no, we're not talking about the Sheik game that everyone knows about, that art leaked back in 2020 and Retro Studios pitched it. And I mean, you guys want to know about that, go watch one of the latest Did You Know Gaming episodes. They deep dove into that. They interviewed former developers, and it was quite the ride. But in that ride, they discovered that wasn't the only Zelda game that Retro Studios was trying to pitch to Nintendo. They had a previous one that was pitched about 21 years ago.
Wow.
Called Heroes of Hyrule. And it was a Final Fantasy Tactics style Zelda game. In fact, in the development document, it references Final Fantasy Tactics like 7 times. So they very clearly were inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics. So that's the style of game it was going to be. They had a very heavy emphasis on 2 time periods. This is like an exclusive thing you're hearing from us, by the way. You'll hear more about this on their new episode because they have a whole episode coming out on Heroes of Hyrule, but I'm in talks with the guy who did the interviews and all the stuff, and he's been letting me know some things. So there was a heavy emphasis for the story on the hero being able to travel between two time periods. And we're not talking like the 7 years and Ocarina of Time sort of thing. We're talking like ancient past, future. Like it was going to be like
a while too.
Yep. That's actually why he contacted me, because I made, the random theory that everyone has made that maybe there's some sort of time travel mechanic, or maybe Zelda and Link are playable in 2 different times. And I just kind of brought that up, and it just sparked his mind. He went, wait a second. From what I heard, this was actually something that was going to happen, something similar to this in a different game. And a lot of things about Project X, which was the Sheik game, ended up happening in Skyward Sword. Because the Sheik game was going to be, for those who don't know, that spin-off was going to be the origin story of the Master Sword. Well, what game was the origin story of the Master Sword? Skyward Sword. So a lot of the ideas of that game, story-wise, ended up being used in Skyward Sword. So this could be one of those, let's recycle some of the ideas from an old canceled Zelda game to maybe put in Breath of the Wild 2. We'll see. I don't know. By the way, we don't know anything about Breath of the Wild 2 besides trailers, and then it's all speculation from there. But there was more we found out about this game, and this was revealed at the end. It was a surprise at the end of the latest Did You Know Gaming video. So this is all stuff that's already public, but I wanted to go over it because there's a story timeline document that apparently is 20 pages long, I've been told. We only have like half of, like not even half, like a third of page 1 that they've unveiled so far. And it starts off by saying Ganon captures Princess Zelda. What a surprise. What a classic
And she's
story.
in another castle. Wait.
Link sets out to rescue Zelda, but here's the twist. Ganon's forces ambush Link and actually capture him. So Link and Zelda are both captured. 3 of Link's friends, a Goron, a Rito, and a Zora, set out to rescue him. After many adventures, the 3 heroes defeat Ganon. Man, this is really early in the story. Kind of crazy. It's already over. Game over. Done.
Hey.
Ganon retreats into a magical spell book that is the source of his power, called the Book of Ganon. There's actually a little bit of Zelda lore in there if you know anything about the Book of Ganon. Anyways, Link takes the Book of Ganon into safekeeping, and the heroes remove many pages of the book and hide them to prevent Ganon's return. 100 years pass. Forgive me if you've heard that one before.
Link! Wake up!
Link is now an old man and owns an antiquity shop. Okay.
And redacted.
Yeah, then it's all redacted. from there.
And redacted.
Yeah, there's going to be more information dropping in their video. They're going to go over everything and get as much details about this game as they can. This didn't make it as far as Project X, where Project X actually got to the point they made a demo. It was greenlit by Project X. The Sheik game was greenlit by Nintendo in 2007, as we found out. And then when they brought the demo, Miyamoto laughed at them. So go watch the Did You Know Gaming video. I don't need to spoil much more than that. Miyamoto he thought it was a joke. Let's just say Whack-A-Mole Zelda was not exactly what they had in mind when they told Retro Studios they could make a Zelda game. Nice. It wasn't good. Nice. And remember, this is the Wii era, so somebody thought it was a brilliant idea. And the funny thing is, most of the Retro Studios staff that were working on it kept telling the guy that this was not a good idea. But what are you gonna do?
mean,
This felt like a better idea, though. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, it started out good in that area.
So, you guys have any thoughts on this? Like, it's kind of like what could have been if Nintendo had greenlit this project instead of the other one.
Thank God they didn't. Thank God.
I don't know. I don't think that we needed a Zelda spin-off game like this at all. But the story sound, as much as it gets wacky towards the end, the story of
Antiquity Shop. Come
focus. A focus on time travel in 2 different timelines I'm already a sucker for that. And then Ganon maybe winning, at least for like a portion of the game. Yep. I know that sounds super counterintuitive to any Zelda game you go through, but I don't know, doing something like odd and different like that might be all right. But that said, even while there's games like Hyrule Warriors, which I think do a great job at the lore and the story, I don't hype those up in my mind like a Zelda game at all, because obviously they're a totally different gameplay experience. So I assume that if this game and this product did come to light, it would be like a Hyrule Warriors type of feel for me. Not where I don't care about it and I would play through it, but I'm not like going to replay it and have it like, in the Zelda collection side of the thing. So I don't know. I do think that they should do something with the story element where Ganon prevails, and they should focus more on the lore of split timelines, because the thing about Nintendo now finally acknowledging with Hyrule Historia and breaking down the timeline, and we know there's 3 separate ones, they should lean into that in the storytelling and kind of let us know or at least reference where we're going and what timelines happen. And maybe, you know, it sounds crazy and this might be too far out there, but you could almost go a Marvel multiverses type path with it a little bit, where what you do in one timeline affects the other, and not necessarily links meeting up, but you know what I mean? Like, it could play into that since they've already focused so much on a timeline split. The story element, cool. I could take or leave the Final Fantasy Tactics style gameplay, but yeah, it would have been interesting if it would have came out. So
yeah, I agree. I think I like the Final Fantasy, not the tactics, but I wish it would have been more like a Final Fantasy game where you kind of get your characters together and you recruit new Link's friends and form a group, and they go along that journey to save Link and Zelda, you know, and then eventually meet with Link and then go on to save Zelda altogether. You know, that kind of sounded pretty okay with me until old Link started selling, you know, stuff.
that's where it goes off the rails.
He was selling, you know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I could live without it, but I will.
Well, we are living without it, so.
I mean, I would love to see an RPG like Zelda game like that, where, you know, it's more than one player playing. You level them up, you upgrade their swords and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean, I don't have a lot of opinion, but yeah, it's a crazy theory, and I'm just glad that it happened because I'm happy with what we have now. You know,
Any thoughts, Eric?
Dude, that'd be. I just thought of this. It'd be awesome to have a game like this, and it's multiplayer. One plays the Goron, Zora, and Rito, and you just kind of go through the game together. That would be awesome. And then going off of Sun Bros, I'd love to see the three Links come together and then pull the Spider-Man meme where they all kind of just point at each other like, "Hey, you, it's me."
The old one,
Yeah.
old
So-
saggy one.
Yeah, right. But no, it sounds like an interesting concept. And then you find out that Link is actually the old man in the original Legend of Zelda.
There we go. That would be crazy,
Yeah, right.
They tie that to
Yeah.
it. Maybe that's the antiquity shop,
Yeah, yeah.
and he hands you a sword. And you're like, "What? Wait a second."
Yeah. So they somehow tie it back to him being an old man in a different one of the games.
So I'm guessing, based on these responses, I'm the only person who likes Final Fantasy Tactics.
I've never played it, so
The thing is that I love RPGs.
It's
And
kind of similar to Fire Emblem.
I like turn-based RPGs, the one you take turns, But you know what? I'm actually starting to like tactical games with Mario plus Rabbids, and I'm playing it because you guys got me into the game. So that's
welcome.
my first.
yeah, right.
You're welcome for the awesome. Hey, wait, I got a question, Mike, before you continue. Have you gotten to the Halloween level boss?
For Mario plus Rabbids, not yet. No.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
That boss is epic. Okay, anyways, go
Yeah,
on.
but I'm actually getting into it. Because I'm getting hyped for Sparks of Hope, and I want to be into it. I'm actually forcing myself to get into tactical games so that I can be into it for Sparks of Hope. So, yeah, man, doing it for you. Okay, you can't say I don't love you guys, because then I'll get mad. And
So I've always been into like tactical kind of games and strategy sort of games. So like Final Fantasy Tactics was up my alley. But it wasn't like the first one. We had Fire Emblem. I think, maybe Vandal Hearts. Man, that's going way back. So there's been a lot of games like this over the years, and they've always been sort of niche. Like my thing is, we've had so many other Zelda spinoffs, right? Like all the three Tingle games. Just to throw those out there.
If the CDI games can exist, then yeah. Then this one actually
Link's
deserved to
crossbow training. And it's so there's been, obviously the Warrior games and stuff. There's been so many spin-offs that, like, hey, this would have been fine. And I don't think that this existing would have had anything to do with the actual mainline Zelda series. That would have kept going because this was just retro. It would have maybe affected Retro's output potentially. I don't know that it would have affected something like Prime 1. I don't know that it really would have had an impact on that or Prime 2 because I feel like the people spearheading this would have been a much smaller team than the one working on the Prime games. So I don't know that this would have actually impacted much. I mean, when you hear about the Project X story, if you guys go watch Digital Gaming, that's the real sad one because they ended up, when that project got canned by Nintendo, they lost a lot of big name talent over it because they were working on that game. A bunch of people that were previously working on the Prime games. So it obviously didn't happen. You know, we can't go. We can play the what if revisionist history. Nothing about it to me sounds weird. Like there's always been a part of me that wanted to play as an old Link. Like anyone remember like that epic fan art that's been passed around for like a decade plus of the old man Link that looks rough and tough and he's got the big giant beard. And I'm like, you know what? He does look kind of badass. I gotta say, that's kind of badass.
Link of War, God of War Kratos style.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And he has his son, boy.
Yeah, basically. It's Link of Ragnarok, not God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, so like I've always wanted to play as an older Link and explore the idea of what are these characters? Why are we sharing a $10 eShop card, Mike?
Just don't show the back.
It's probably already used.
Yeah.
Used eShop card. Anyways, I always find it interesting just looking at some of the ideas that were floated out. Because we don't hear about a lot of the game pitches that exist. Because there's a lot of them. There's tons of game pitches that we'll never hear about. And it's crazy that we're even hearing about Zelda game pitches, let alone one that was okayed for development and then, well, canned because it wasn't good. I find it really... Sorry, I keep going back to Project X. Can't help it, dude. One of the developers wanted to make it a Shadow of the Colossus game, and that was shot down, and instead they made Wii Waggle Whack-A-Mole, and that's what they presented to Nintendo. Like, if they would have just went with the Shadow of the Colossus idea, we could have had a Shadow of the Colossus Zelda, and I'm sorry.
Oh, that would have been
That would have been... That might have even been
Yeah.
better than the Zelda series itself. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want
Could've
Shadow of the
created an
Colossus
entire
Zelda?
Spin-off, a fork.
Oh
you know?
my-
It could have been. We could have talk about different timelines, two different teams developing Zelda games regularly going forward. If that would have been the path it went. You know?
Yeah. The main line went to win away. This was just been another. Would have been just like Mario, you know. They went in a different. Oh man. Anyways, sorry. I keep going back to it because like there were so many good ideas. You guys gotta watch the video to really get the full context, and watch the future video they're gonna have on Heroes of Hyrule as well. I just kind of want to talk about it because I had that little exclusive bit of information on the timeline period stuff. And who knows? Maybe it's an idea that ends up getting used in Breath of the Wild 2. We have no idea. Obviously, this was after Ocarina of Time, so you can't even argue that it was an idea for that because that game was before this. But I didn't think we needed another big topic because, I mean, we have the Nintendo Direct to talk about. And
That's the biggest topic right now.
like, literally, if I make a Prime 5 that doesn't have a Nintendo Direct topic in it, I'm just tanking my channel. So,
Look what happened to me today. I decided to do an original story about me going to an arcade.
go to the arcade to play that Mario Kart game. I saw, yeah.
I mean, I was excited because when I that was my daughter's birthday, I saw a Mario arcade for the first time. I'm like, what the heck? When I got home, I went to start looking for it because I wanted to buy it. I wanted it here badly. I want it, and it's like $12,000. Like, what the
Yeah, they're not cheap.
You get to pick between six little characters and then 3 play modes, $12,000. But again, I would actually play just because it has Mario on it.
I'm sure you would. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted for a moment as I'm looking at the Google Doc, and one of our two guests, or maybe one of our two guests is on in the Google Doc as an anonymous liger, and I just found that to be hilarious. It's Google's way of keeping people anonymous so they don't share emails and stuff.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. Anyways, so look, Nintendo Direct. There's been more smoke faster for this than I think. Well, maybe not unexpectedly, because every September there's been something besides 2015 when Iwata passed away. Obviously, rest in peace. Very obvious why they weren't going to suddenly. He just died in July. We're not going to. He was the face of Directs, so it was going to take a bit for them to figure out how they're going to do a Directs without him. And they didn't even take that long. I think they did one in like November, so they still ended up getting one out. It's interesting just because of the history of them always having one in September, and then, I mean, even when we guys want to talk about how they didn't do a general in June, yeah, well, they've never done a general in June without an E3, and they've kept that tradition going.
Yep.
So hey, if there's E3 next year, then I guess we go back to expecting unless Nintendo says they're not going to be at E3. So there's huge expectations for September. Really big name people are saying things like Emily Rogers, She came out of the woodworks. She has not said anything in ages. The last thing she talked about was Metroid Prime HD, and that was it. She hadn't said anything. She's like, hey, Metroid Prime HD hasn't even been announced yet. She is one of the most reliable insiders in Nintendo history, and she's just been quiet. Then out of nowhere, she's like, oh, by the way, I know about a bunch of GameCube remasters. This is what Nintendo's doing. Have a good day. Like, this is just what they're going to be doing. There's going to be a ton of GameCube. And she's like, it's not even the Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. Those were already, like, came to Wii U. Not even talking about that. Oh, it's not just Metroid Prime. Nintendo's whole plan for the next couple years is a ton of GameCube remasters. And she also said, and remakes. Which that's also exciting, because then you got to think, well, wait, which one are they actually going to remake? Can we get a 1,000-Year Door remake from the ground up? I'm actually scared if they do that. I might want that to be a remaster instead. Because I don't know if they can keep the goodness of that game in a remake. But that's just really interesting to think about all the games and all the possibilities. And yes, guys, I did have my own source on F-Zero. Take that for what it is. I have no idea if and when that game's coming. I have no idea if any of these are going to be at the Direct. Because she noted several times, she's made very damn sure to know, she doesn't know what's going to be at the Direct. Maybe she's choosing to not know. Maybe she's lying because she doesn't want the attention. I have no idea. Doesn't really matter to me. She knows about a bunch of GameCube games coming, and that's already exciting enough.
Yeah.
Then you got Jeff Grubb. Good old Jeffrey Grubb of, God, he's worked at like VGC, works at Giant Bomb now. He's been a video game journalist for a hell of a long time. And him and his co-host on The Last of the Nintendogs basically saying the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD will be at this Direct. Like, definitively, they will be. That's what they're saying. Again, still rumors to us because we can't verify this stuff. But, so they're saying, yeah, that's happening. He hopes Metroid Prime will be there. He's not sure.
Wait. He can't be hoping because he put his hair on the line.
No. He addressed this. He said, oh, no, Metroid Prime HD is coming out this holiday. He still hasn't wavered on that. He just hasn't heard it's going to be at the Direct. He said it could just be a Twitter drop. And this is Nintendo, so I mean, I can't actually put that past. I can't put that past Nintendo to be like, here's a Direct, and then 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, here's Metroid Prime HD. What? I mean, it's Nintendo. So, but he's just saying no one's actually told him it'll be at this Direct. He does expect it there, of course, because if he knows it's coming out, then it's natural to expect it here. And the big thing that really lit the internet on fire was that he has now, not originally he kind of inferred that he thought Breath of the Wild 2 might be here with a title reveal. Then he clarified in a later podcast, like the Shaq Nintendo podcast or something that he was guesting on. He went out there and said, no, let me clarify this. It was intimated to me that Breath of the Wild 2 will be at the Direct with a name reveal. And that means it was hinted to him by his sources that this would happen. Not like a for sure thing. He's not going all in on it like he is with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. But he's like, hey, this is something I'm being told that this is going to happen. And that obviously has people going nuts. And obviously then he threw out the word, this will be a Zelda blowout Direct, which just made people go absolutely nuts and insane and like, oh my gosh, are we getting Oracle remakes? Are we getting all, like, what's happening? This is insane. Four Swords Adventures, that's on GameCube Remasters. Four Swords Adventure Remaster. Like, and people just going nuts about it. And he's like, no, just to clarify, I only know that the 2 for sure are going to be there. I don't know. We don't even know Breath of the Wild is going to be, but it would make sense.
I'm sorry, but you said blowout.
Yeah.
Blowout.
Taking me back to Frozen. Oh my gosh. Big summer blowout. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of crazy other rumors floating out there from other people, suggesting that other things could be at this Direct. Who really knows at this point? We obviously have, I think, reached a point that, can we all agree the Direct's not this week?
Yeah, it's not happening this week. It's got to be next week.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe the 14th. I mean, the 14th just seems like the date that makes sense.
It's like the latest it could be. Because they've never overlapped with Tokyo Game Show. It's never happened.
Yeah.
And the 14th is really close because of the time zone difference of overlapping. But it doesn't mean, based on how they time it, if it's really early in the morning, they could get away with it. We'll see.
Not to mention, sometimes with the Direct announcement, it happens like 2 days in advance rather than just the one. So it could be that, correct, but it could be that a Monday that drops the announcement for Wednesday.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping happens.
And I don't think so in September, I went back. I don't think there's ever been a September one that's happened on any other day but Wednesday or Thursday. But things are all different. This is the first year coming out of COVID. Yeah, it could be Tuesday. They've done directs on Tuesdays. February directs are really they've been on Tuesdays. Obviously, the E3 direct every year, Nintendo always goes on Tuesday. So Tuesday's a possibility. It's basically, it sounds like Tuesday or Wednesday. It'd be really weird if it was Thursday. Can't put it past them. It'd be really weird. Also, I'm not going to put it past them that they might just go, we'll wait till after Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
We don't know.
I'm gonna say the 21st.
You're going to go after?
Yeah, I'm gonna go after.
Okay. Yeah, because we none of us know. Jeff Grubb made it sound like it's happening the week of the 12th, which would be 12, 13, 14. Right in there. That'd be next week. That's what he said he heard. Other people at Giant Bomb supposedly heard this week, but that I think that boat's out the window. Nintendo's never done one on Friday, so that's pretty much gone.
I mean, tomorrow's still Thursday.
Yeah,
although we haven't had any sort of.
They would have been announced. Something this big, they would have been announced. 24-hour notice.
Just a Twitter drop.
No, they would have did the Chibi Robo on fire like they did the one time, and then there's suddenly a direct the next day. There's no announcement of it. They did that. It was like a Nintendo Direct Mini or something. Yeah. They tweeted out Chibi Robo on fire. Very next day there was a direct, and yet there was no announcement. It was so weird. It was whoever ran Nintendo social media and decided that's how they wanted to make the internet go crazy. Good on you. Yeah, right, good on you. How fun was that to troll the internet? And Chibi Robo wasn't even in the directs. just go figure.
Why not?
Oh, good old Chibi Robo. I hope your IP isn't done forever. You deserve better than the last couple games you got. That franchise could have been more. I don't know. That's just me. Anyways, I've talked a lot. What are your guys' thoughts on all this craziness? Breath of the Wild 2, GameCube remasters. What's happening?
Zelda Blowout. It's happening. I think that we are going to get one of the best directs that we have seen in a while. I'm gonna put my expectation really, really, really high up, so that on that day, I'd be dropping my head. But
hype responsibly, damn it.
I'm not hyping responsibly.
Yeah, we're done with the hype responsibly. Damn it, it's been since February.
It's gonna be like very, very dangerously hype, like seriously, like heart attack hyping. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna be in the direct. Metroid Prime trilogy, not the remake, trilogy. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 announcement right at the end. It's gonna be really cool, really crazy. Nate's gonna die of a heart attack. It's gonna go crazy. Got his shirt, run away.
The shirt is staying on. The shirt is staying on.
What's the over/under on him telling Doug Bowser to shut up?
So I think we're gonna have four things related to Zelda. 4.
Holy cow!
4
things. We're gonna have of course the ports, which is gonna be bundled. That's 2 of them, right? We're gonna have a remake. Okay, I predict a remake for next year. This year we'll get the ports. Next year we'll get the remake. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll get it in October. But anyway, a remake, and then also Breath of the Wild 2 announcement with no title. With no title, we'll get a new trailer, but I don't think we're gonna have a title yet because I feel we're still longs away, and I feel like they want to do a Nintendo Direct related to Zelda in order to give us all of the information there. And I feel like February is a good time to drop the date and say, okay, hey, February, Nintendo Direct, Breath of the Wild, blurpity blurp, and then later on announce the Breath of the Wild Zelda Direct, in which we'll get all the gist with the release date on March 3rd. That's my thing.
When are they announcing the release date?
In February.
So you think they're going to give you like a month or less than a month notice of when the game's coming out?
No, not the release date. I'm saying the name of the game. The name.
Oh, okay. I wanted to clarify. I'm like, I don't know that Nintendo's ever only given us a month warning.
But
I guess Kirby's Dream Buffet. Someone wants to own me on that one.
Now watch, they just.
But yeah, that's my top pick for games. Of course, there's gonna be other third-party games. They're gonna make it in there, and we're gonna get ports and stuff and blah blah blah. But online, I predict that we're not gonna get no remakes or ports from the GameCube. I predict we're gonna get the GameCube.
And
I
so
predict that the reason why they were doing all these remasters is so that those games look better on Nintendo Online. We're gonna get Game Boy, we're gonna get Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, for Nintendo Online, plus the GameCube. I'm hyping up, dude. I'm hyping up. Not only that, but they're gonna announce the next year, and every single year after that, we're gonna get the Wii, we're gonna get the Wii U, and all those. We're gonna get our own little Game Pass going on there. And if I see if I can think about anything else, but I'll pass it on for now. And if I think about anything else, because I'm still not hyped enough, I need to hype more.
No, Mike, you're too hyped, brother. No, don't set your expectations that high. It's not. I have my expectations at a medium place right now for this direct. First of all, it's not confirmed clearly, but it's logical. Nintendo's going to do it, and that's for sure. I don't think that we're getting necessarily the Zelda blowout, but I want to save that part. I actually think the opposite, Mike. I think that I tend to believe Emily Rogers' thought process with Nintendo wanting to do GameCube as remasters, in terms of they know that platform is aged incredibly well. And I think they know that they have easy $60 up-res retexture opportunities. And I do think, I mean, we can briefly bring up Silex Hunter and his track record so far with everything around Bayonetta, the Direct Mini, and the timeline for it and everything. And he's saying you got boost power, right? Which that sounds like F-Zero GX, and we have Emily Rogers talking about it also. That sounds like a remaster, and I think Nintendo, for a period of time, treats their GameCube games as the port projects, similar to maybe even like how they did with 3DS and towards the end of the life cycle. I mean, we might be talking the next 2 years, we see a trickle down of multiple GameCube projects making it over, and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess being the perfect buffers for this year. And I'm like 50-50 on if we're getting those, but with all the talk about them, I was burned last year. I'm sure everybody was with the Zelda 35th hype train that everybody was on. And I think that this is the last shot that we get those anytime soon, because if they don't come now, they're not coming until 2024 at the soonest. 2023 is fully Breath of the Wild 2 year. But I think that Nintendo does their approach with Nintendo Switch Online much slower. I think if we're lucky, at this direct, we get the Game Boy family of systems. We might just get an updated roadmap of the N64 games, and there's some like super hype titles that get people to resubscribe. But we know they're working on Game Boy emulators, so I do feel like it's time that they should just add in at least Game Boy family of systems. I think they save a big expansion like GameCube for whatever the Switch 2 is, and then they rely on these remasters throughout. And then the big thing with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, like, it's not just Jeff Grubb, it's Andy Robinson, like, originally shouting that out. Like, Zelda fans sit tight whenever he got it wrong. He said they're 100% coming in 2021. Multiple different gaming journalists have heard about these projects being ready to go, and they're like the last Wii U ports that haven't, major ones. There's some other ones, Xenoblade Chronicles X also, but they're one of the few games on the Wii U that were HD remade that Nintendo wants to sell to a broader audience, because 110 million units versus 13 million units on the Wii U, like, clearly these games are going to clean house. So it is, I think Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD are, if not when, and hopefully it is at the September Direct. And then on the Breath of the Wild 2 thing, like, I'm so torn on that, because they say spring 2023, but I think it all depends on when in spring. If it's a late March or early March game, then we have to get the title reveal and the trailer and the launch date, maybe even now. If it's later into the year than that, into April at all, I do think that they could do a February Direct, and that's where we get the show closer with the title reveal and the date, and maybe that OLED special edition. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I definitely think it's happening. I'm, as much as I don't want to be burned on that, you just look at Nintendo's history, and even though this is a weird year with the lack of an E3 Direct, they're gonna hype up their holiday season. Metroid Prime Remaster is what I think we're getting for that. I think that's how they want to revitalize the Prime brand leading into Prime 4. But if they talk about Metroid Prime Remaster or Trilogy HD, whatever it is, they have to also acknowledge Metroid Prime 4, which means if it's just a statement, or if it's some kind of trailer or a glimpse, or even just a look at what the world looks like, I will be blown away and overly happy. But I say all that stuff out loud, and then I'm like, that sounds like the best Nintendo Direct we've ever gotten ever. And so I'm also thinking that one or two or multiple of those things might not be here, because I don't know if Nintendo's really just going to show up and drop the mic with all their massive announcements, but yeah, I'm very in the middle. I'm not setting my hype to the maximum, but I also think this is going to be a fantastic direct this month, and I hope it's the 14th. So we'll see sooner rather than later.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that we're gonna see Metro Prime 4 as well.
Jesus.
Mike's direct at
Extra.
this point
Extra.
would break the internet.
Yeah.
Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they'd all need
It
new
would
servers
crash
to keep us going.
YouTube. I have a feeling it would crash YouTube.
I mean,
Yeah.
we are almost. Isn't the 20th anniversary in November?
For Metroid.
Metro-
Yes.
Metro Prime. Metro Prime.
So, I mean, there is no better time. There is no better time. Of course, we can release Metro Prime HD, which makes sense because it's 20th year anniversary of that game. But what better time to say, hey, we have Metroid Prime 4 announcement for 2023. But while you wait, here is the HD version as the 20th anniversary.
I'm going to choose to go last.
They can bring it up like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm
hype level,
I'm choosing to go last. This is.
hype level, hype.
Hype levels, Luigi.
I need to let Sombro Nation and Mike's hype levels somehow
Yeah.
wash over me.
Yeah, you're right.
I think I'm going to be the cynic of the group.
Yeah.
Eric?
I'm going to quote Queen on this. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now. So, yeah, just give me everything and anything Zelda related, Breath of the Wild 2. Just give it to me. I want it all right now. But what I can see Nintendo doing just for the hell of it, we get a release date. We don't get the title. We get a release date. Say, mid-March of next year, and then the beginning of February, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's your title. Here's your Switch. Have fun.
I see that happening.
Everybody's expecting the title, and Nintendo just goes, nope, just kidding. Here's the release date. But yeah, I want it all.
Hey, nobody's mentioning a Mario game. How about a brand new Mario game?
Oh, that
Mario
was-
Odyssey.
as Mike's dream director.
That's
Just keeps
next
raising
February,
the bar.
Mike.
Keeps
That's next
raising
February,
the
Mike.
bar.
I think ETH for Donkey, like if we're getting all of these GameCube remasters, if that's even real at all, then I think that's a focal point of this direct. And then I think that February and June E3, hopefully if Nintendo aligns with them, is when probably E3 for the next Mario. I think that's the perfect stage to close the show with Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever the new 3D one.
You don't think
is.
they closed the show with a HD remake? Actually, just a full-on remake of Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Oh, let's hope not. Let's hope not.
That's the showstopper. The showstopper. They bring back the DK bongos. Everyone, let's go.
Wow. The return of video game accessories in 2022.
Don't know if they ever really went away. Have you checked Amazon?
Well, officially licensed Nintendo accessories.
What, you didn't get the blow up Mario Kart racing thing that you could sit in and race Mario Kart in back on Wii? That was the best.
Lord.
That's a valid point, but at least that's a spin-off project and not directly a installment in one of Mario Kart's a staple installment in the franchise.
That's great.
I mean, I'm still standing by the fact that they're going to repeat the opening year. They're just going to bring it all back with Breath of the Wild 2, Mario Odyssey 2. They're just going to bring it all back and just re-roll it with the new Switch. With the new Switch.
So, I have a slightly different take. I do think this is probably just because I want it to be, but I'm gonna let myself have that smidge of hype of Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna be here. I had this expectation for a long time that I didn't think we'd see it till next year, but or maybe at the Game Awards, although that's really sketchy since Nintendo's presented nothing at the Game Awards since Reggie left, because Doug Bowser just doesn't have that same relationship with Jeff Keighley. So it doesn't mean that Nintendo can't present something. It's just Nintendo's only ever really been there to accept awards and then run commercials. So it's just funny because trailers are technically just commercials anyways. Just ones we get excited for.
And Doug Bowser's body is not ready.
It's not ready. It's not ready. Well, it also probably doesn't help that like Jeff Keighley did that whole thing. Oh, for the first time ever, we have the 3 of the main leaders from Nintendo on stage at once, and it's literally the year Reggie's retiring. So like he couldn't be less important than in that moment. And then Doug takes over like a month later. it was a little bit of a weird one, but whatever. The idea that I have here is I do think Breath of the Wild 2 will be there. I do think that sure, well, let's get a title drop, maybe even a release date, maybe both. Because if it's coming out, and I've been on this, I was on a show with Andres Restart on his channel last Sunday. I've been kind of on this train that end of March makes a lot of sense. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is done, by the way. I don't think it got delayed because it needed to be delayed. Yeah. I think they had a lot of games packed into the holiday, and they didn't have a big game plan to end their fiscal year yet. And they said, you know what? Zelda can sell no matter when we release it. We just proved it with Breath of the Wild. We don't need a holiday for Zelda. Let's do end of March. Let's make it our big end of March game that still technically fits in the spring slot because end of March is spring. And then also nails the end of fiscal year and kicks off the rest of the next fiscal year. I think that's the plan. I don't think Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was delayed for technical reasons. And to support this, note that every time Nintendo has delayed a Zelda game, they gave us a reason. They didn't give us a reason this time. They just said, we're delaying the game till spring of 2023. And that's basically it. There was no, we need more time to polish it, or it needs more work, or we just need the extra time to iron out the bugs, or we just have too many ideas. We need more. There was none of that. They made that excuse with Twilight Princess even. They made that excuse with Breath of the Wild. They didn't make that excuse this time, which tells me I don't think they actually need the extra time. This is one of those, hey, Nintendo just has games done and they're sitting on them, and they're waiting until the right time is to release it. They know this game's a big deal. They want it to be in the right spotlight, and they understand that, hey, you know what, this holiday, we got Sparks of Hope. That could be a potential 10 million seller. We've got, brand new open world Pokemon. That's going to be 14, 15, maybe 20 million in sales right there. Hey, what happens if we go, hey, we got like 25, 30 million in sales just between those two games, let alone the extra 5 million from each other games are going to come out, like Bayonetta 3 and maybe Metroid Prime or whatever. So, boom. Oh, just when you think we're done, 3 months later, bam, here's another big 10, 15, 20 million seller. We're just going to drop at your feet. Just when you thought, oh, you're done with Pokemon, guess what? Here's Zelda. So I kind of feel like marketing-wise, Nintendo's sort of setting it up for that. Now, whether or not a new Switch comes out with it or not, that's a whole nother conversation. But at this Direct, by the way, I don't think they'll mention a new Switch at this Direct. They're not going to do anything that's not coming out this holiday for hardware. So not going to get mentioned right now. Sure. And if you actually look historically at announcement to release, like OLED announcement to release and Switch Lite announcement to release, they're very short periods of time.
They don't February release for March.
Yeah, like they don't. Well, it could be even a January announcement, even right after the holiday. Like it could be literally just be like we need like 2-3 months max to run up to this thing, or we can drop it. So who knows? And it could be a holiday next year thing, or it could just not be a thing at all, and they just go on to next gen. But I do think it's kind of setting up for that. And if that's the case, we've never not known the name of the Zelda game 6 months before release. It's never happened. In the history of Zelda releases, we've never not known the name 6 months before release. So if I truly believe it's coming at the end of March, that means we have to find out the title now. And I understand that Breath of the Wild 2 can kind of overshadow things a little bit. I think Nintendo understands it as well. That's why it's the end capper game. It usually is the biggest game you have to show. But I don't think it's one of those that if it shows really well, which I assume it will because the trailers have been really good so far, and if the title's resonating with people and the release date's got people hyped, plus you have the Mario movie coming that spring, what a combo for Nintendo with the Mario movie, in April and having Breath of the Wild in March, and who knows what the hell they're going to land in early, June time when they drop another big game. Yeah. I kind of think that it's setting up that we're going to get it. We might even get the release date, or at least be told a month. We might just be like, it's March. We're going to narrow this down to March now. This is March of 2020. If they don't want to give us the exact release date, they'll give us the month. Now, obviously, I could all be wrong, and this could all be delayed, and Breath of the Wild going to be in a holiday game next year, or they delay it even further, and it's a launch game for the next platform. I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know. This is just the gut feeling I have. And then, setting that aside, because I could talk about Breath of the Wild 2 for 17 hours straight. The rest of the direct, like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess HD, look, enough people are confident that's going to be here that it's sort of, I just kind of have that as a base expectation. No matter what, we're getting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. Don't know when they're coming. No one's been very specific on when they're releasing. Like, are they releasing, end of, this year, like December? Nintendo usually has something in December. Is it going to be a combo pack in December? That wouldn't be horrendous timing. It kind of clears all the big games, and then you get one last thing before Christmas. That would be kind of cool. By the way, thank you, Bama Hut, for gifting 5 memberships. I really do appreciate it, buddy. Be sure, Bama Hut, to also go subscribe and hit the bell icon on our podcast channel, because we do all of our live streams over on the podcast channel now, besides tonight. So if you want to, and yes, we have gifted memberships over there as well, so you're welcome.
Oh, you actually did get approved.
We got approved. We have
Nice.
gifted membership. I tested them on the last stream. I gifted, like 10 memberships or something. So
Nice.
anyways, so thank you so much, Bam. I appreciate the support of the show. Yeah, this is one of those weird things to me, that how big can this direct really be? And how big do people consider remasters to be or ports to be? Like, we used to sigh when it's like, oh, it's another Wii U port coming over. Oh, it's F-Zero. Oh, geez, F-Zero remaster. Okay, well, where's the new games? And like, now we're talking about like, oh, if we get all these remasters, this is so exciting. And it's kind of like, that would be a lame direct before, if like it's Breath of the Wild 2 and then just a bunch of remasters. That's not normally considered a good direct, but part of, I think, what makes it feel good is we already know about so many new games coming. We really do, with Bayonetta 3 and Sparks of, and just Bayonetta 3, Sparks of Hope, and Pokemon. Let alone, hey, guess what? For the first time ever, Persona's about to drop. Like, actual Persona's about to drop next month. So is Nier Automata for the first time ever on a Nintendo platform, dropping next month. So that's got people really hyped as well. In general, October's packed. I'm already forgetting big name games. I'm already forgetting.
That's a good point, because I think Switch fans are eating so good right now when it comes to new titles that are released from Nintendo that were actually hyped about titles from the past, which would have never been the thing before. Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, I think like even the GameCube was in the 20 millions of unit sales, in the 20 millions. So it's like, okay, we're talking about a whole user base of people that us growing up hardcore Nintendo fans or being hardcore Nintendo fans our whole life. I think there's a lot of people that see those past titles that are, I mean, I can't tell you how many people in the comments are like, I can't wait to play Wind Waker, or I played it once, but I would never give it a chance because of the art style. Like, there's a lot of people that, want to check these games out that haven't had the console to do it, and they're not willing to go out and buy a Wii U or a GameCube online. God forbid you look at used GameCube game prices. I think you get a better, I think that's the environment we're in addition just to having all of these great first-party Switch titles that are just dropping month in and month out on the platform. Like, we're definitely in a prime time, no pun intended, as Nintendo fans right now. So it's good.
Yeah. So it kind of brings me to one point is, it hasn't been every September, but a lot of Septembers we do get an NSO update. Mm-hmm. And people tend to forget that we sort of had Game Boy and Game Boy Color stuff leaked already. Like earlier this year, people totally forget it was a legitimate data leak. This isn't like even rumor territory. This legitimately was data that leaked from Nintendo that it's at least something they've worked on. It hasn't been announced, so they could just never release it. But it is something that we know they've worked on. We know about a list of games for different platforms that they've worked on a bit. So it would be shocking to me if we didn't get an NSO announcement for Game Boy and Game Boy Color at least. And have those be, I mean, I'd like them to throw Game Boy Advance in as well, but we'll see. And I think that would probably be part of their base NSO subscription. I don't know that they would put that at the premium tier. But after all, they just added N64 last year. So if we get this year, I don't really know what else they could add to the premium tier at that point. If they're going to remaster GameCube games instead of putting them on NSO because they value them so much, I think they can make so much more money doing that. Then I guess, what's Wii next? That's insane. Maybe they go to DS and they decide DS is going to be on the premium tier or something someday. I guess because that is one of their, that's a more recent platform as well, I suppose. But it feels like it was ages ago, but technically I was out of high school when DS came out, so I was an adult.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still going to throw out Game Gear. I'm still going to throw out Game Gear because with the Genesis, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I would
Dreamcast
still
is
love
a
to.
possibility.
Yeah,
Even though that
Dreamcast.
might be a long shot, but
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
I mean, I feel like Nintendo will eventually, maybe very slowly, maybe yeah, like it'll go into the next gen console. But I think Nintendo very very slowly will build up their Game Pass type system with all their consoles. You know, eventually. You know, I'm not sure how far they will go when it comes to, you know, I don't think they'll get to the Wii U, but at least to the Wii when it comes to games online. So.
I do think so too. They're going to go Disney Plus route, right? Like where it's just all the Nintendo classics on one online platform.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a win situation. I would love that. I would actually love that.
Same. And the sooner the better. I just think they'll stretch it out a long way, potentially, you know?
Yeah, like they did with GameCube. I mean, really, I mean not GameCube, 64. Really, one game.
Yeah, we're getting one game a month, and if that leaked list is to be believed, that the data mine that says there's 38 spots, that means they're adding, you know, that means they're adding N64 games for like 2 years plus to come if they're doing it at this pace.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, and you'd need to do that if you're going to continue to support it the same way they're doing with like NES and SNES right now. Even though we could take or leave any of the recent additions on those games, it's still something that if they do it right and they do add in these new systems. And Nate, I agree with you that they need to add in Game Boy and Game Boy Color to the base tier, because the base tier subscribers aren't getting anything other than cloud support and online play right now. I mean, essentially. You know, you're getting the occasional NES and SNES games, but they're not spending the money on getting licensing rights for the big titles that people want. So it's like, okay, let's throw in some new systems for the base tier, and I think that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be huge for the base tier.
Yeah. We might also get for this direct release date for Hogwarts Legacy for the Switch. I know we did.
I could see that.
Yeah, don't.
That could tie into what Jeff Grubb was saying, that a lot of like the third party stuff or whatever that he had heard was there. It wasn't necessarily that exciting. Like it might be. Yeah. I mean, that would be exciting, but it's like more like, oh, just confirmation of this info.
So when Jeff Grubb said that, right? Oh, it's not that exciting, so I'm not really going to talk about it. Then he goes on the Nintendo Shack show, and he's like, oh, well, because they said, hey, like you said this isn't that exciting. Can you give us an example? And he's like, oh, It Takes Two is going to be there. Oh, I'm sorry. Game of the Year of 2021 is going to be there. That's not that exciting. Are you just yanking our change at? Like, I'm sorry. It Takes Two is incredible. If you guys have not played It Takes Two, it is so perfect for Switch. Mm-hmm. It is so perfect. Like, how? How is that not an exciting addition? Oh, yeah, we're just adding one of the best games of 2021. No problem. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I think I think his perspective on that is from the person who has all consoles. And
yeah, because he does have everything.
Yeah, he's played it, he's experienced it. He's like, oh, it's coming to Switch. That's not exciting. Like, but he's not taking into account that the people who game only exclusively on Switch. That's a huge announcement. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we're NSO. I obviously think we'll get the Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD and Breath of the Wild 2. Obviously, Breath of the Wild 2 would be the capper. I mean, they could kick off the show. I mean, if they kick off the show with it, then they clearly have a brand new announcement they think is going to be a bigger deal. Which, to me, the only thing that makes sense would be a new Mario, I guess, because that's the one IP they can go, yeah, this is actually bigger, so here's Mario. But I also think there's a potential we don't see anything Mario because they might save the announcement to come out. If not, February, or if not, I mean, there's a Mario movie next year, so next year kind of makes sense to me. The only thing I can think of is, and this is where the devil's advocate comes, because so far, it sounds exciting. You're talking about games we want. You're talking about stuff on NSO we want. Yeah, but notice I've only talked about one new Switch game. Everything else is ports, remasters, and NSO. Where's the exciting stuff? Where's like the new? After all, if you actually look at the last 2 years of exclusive games coming to Switch, most of them are not first party, like made by Nintendo games. Even this holiday, Bayonetta 3 and Mario plus Rabbids are not made by Nintendo. Pokemon, technically not made by Nintendo. Their biggest games right now aren't being made by them. Fire Emblem Warriors over the summer, not made by them. Mario Strikers, not made by them. What the hell is Nintendo even making? Splatoon 3, yes, that's made by Nintendo. But, like, that's it. That's their in-house made game. What the hell has Nintendo been doing? Besides Zelda. Something. And part of me thinks that because Emily Rogers mentioned that if you look at the end of the DS era, and the 3DS era in particular, you can kind of see what she feels like Nintendo's strategy is. And that is lots of ports, lots of remasters. And yes, there'll be some new games sprinkled in. They don't just not make new games, but there's a lot less of them. And it kind of feels like we're already sort of there, where there is a lot less of them. It doesn't feel like it because there's all these third-party games coming out and Triangle Strategy earlier. But all of this, Live Alive, none of that's made by Nintendo. I think the last game that Nintendo made, I mean, they probably, I don't even know if they made Kirby's Dream Buffet. I'm assuming they made that one. But like their last major release before that was maybe Nintendo Switch Sports that Nintendo actually made in-house. And I'm not even sure if they made that one in-house. I'd have to double check the developer on that one. I'm assuming they made that one in-house because they were experimenting with FSR. So that was probably an in-house thing. But I look at it and I go, well, what's the Mario Kart team doing? Why the hell haven't we had an ARMS 2 when ARMS was like the best-selling brand new fighting IP of the generation?
Yeah.
Why? Well, okay, like I understand that we're probably not getting a new Mario Kart till later, but like the Mario team, it's been 5 years. What is happening? Why don't we have a new 2D? Where's top-down Zelda? Grezzo, what the hell are you doing? You haven't done anything since Link's Awakening for Nintendo. Well, Miitopia, I suppose. But like, where's the new stuff? It's getting to this point that they have to have something. And I am of mind that if Emily Rogers is right, that they plan to pad out with remasters and remakes, which is totally fine because the nice thing Nintendo has about doing that, because if you think about it, all the Wii U games they brought over have sold incredibly well for Nintendo. I think only one of them sold less than it did on Wii U. I think that was Tropical Freeze. I think that was the one that was kind of sort of their dud. But everything else ended up selling way better on Switch than it ever did on Wii U because to everyone here it was like a new game. Well, their second least selling platform of all time is GameCube, which means that's also the platform that the remasters and remakes and whatever they do, most people who own a Switch have never played these games. So they would be brand new. Most people have not played Thousand Year Door. Believe it or not, most people only know Paper Mario for what it is today. They didn't actually, some of them weren't even alive. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. Let's just be real. They know that there's a gold mine that they could reap by doing these easy HD ports and remasters of GameCube games and just make bank and coast for a couple of years. And if that's what Emily Rogers was sort of suggesting, because that's exactly what they did with 3DS, then that tells me, one, we're at the end of Switch's life. We had about 2 years left, maybe end of 2024. That's assuming that there's no mid-gen refresh that extends the life another year or two. Because obviously if Switch Pro drops next year and it's in the same family, that would be an extender. I'd say that would add at least 2 years. So that would push it to 2025, in my opinion. Yeah. But if there isn't, and Nintendo's like, hey, we're replacing this thing in 2024, yeah, they might have a new Mario game. It might be ready. They might have the Mario movie next year, and they might go, we ain't announcing it. This is a launch game for the next platform, because Zelda's coming out now. So Zelda won't be ready. Mario's going to be ready. And that's why we haven't announced it, because the brand new 3D Mario is a launch game. And you know what? We know sometimes it takes more than one. So you know what? Brand new Mario Kart and Mario are dropping within the first 3 months of the platform coming out. You know, Nintendo's launch window.
Yeah.
So it could be that we're not actually going to hear about Mario because Nintendo knows we're nearing the end. It might not make sense. Breath of the Wild 2 could still make sense if there's a couple years, but it'd be really weird to be like, oh, let's drop Mario at holiday 2023, but replace the whole platform in holiday of 2024. And because I want, by the way, I would like Nintendo to do it because I'd like them to release Mario next year. Because then they're starting to be like Sony. We're going to keep dropping big games all the way to the next platform. And that's what I want Nintendo to do. But they've never actually done it. So I hope I'm wrong. And then they're just like, hey, we'll just port this over and you can rebuy the 4K version or something. And I hope there's full backwards compatibility. That's a whole different conversation. But for new, I mean, we had Kirby in the Forgotten Land. I think there's going to be something else new announced. I don't think it's going to be to the level of Mario.
There was the rumored Donkey Kong game that still haven't heard anything about anymore.
It could be Donkey Kong. You're right. Maybe there's a Donkey Kong game and they said, hey, come in summer next year. Here's our first look at our new vision for Donkey Kong or whatever. It could also be, I look at the IPs, like Metro Prime 4 is a popular one to come. Like, oh, they have to. They announced it in 2017. They have to get it out this generation. Do they?
Listen, I think we are about to see it. a Switch Pro.
No, I'm not. They're not announcing that. No.
Not this year. Not in this direct. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying the more we talk about all these ports coming, right? Nintendo focusing on porting games from the GameCube and just bringing ports, right? And then the fact that we are in September, and we have, like I stated before, at this point last year we had at least half of the calendar for 2022, and Nintendo's holding up this much. Giving us ports, giving us games, yeah, but not anything first party, anything major, for 2023. I just, it makes me think that Nintendo is waiting for that next gen console, which is not going to be a next gen. It's going to be an upgraded Switch, where I believe Nintendo will get rid of the regular Switch model, none OLED, keep the OLED Lite, and then the 4K edition, and then start blasting us with first party games, the next iteration of Mario, the next Donkey Kong, the next Metroid, whatever, there. And if they do announce anything first party, they'll give it a date that is well in after they have launched that next upgraded Switch. I don't think it's going to be a next gen console, because there's just too many games coming out, and they're making these OLED versions, these the versions of Pokemon and Splatoon 3 within a month of themselves. It tells me, okay, we got to get rid of consoles. What do we do? Just slap some paint on it and make it an edition, and let's get rid of that. But they're selling way too many editions in order for them to just die down. I think the next gen Switch will be, or not Switch, the next gen Nintendo console will come in 2025, and then we'll get that 4K for 2023 and 2024. That 2025, that's when we see Nintendo's next gen console. But I feel like in the first half of Nintendo of 2023, we're gonna see a real next upgrade Nintendo Switch, either the Switch 4K edition, that could be the name, Nintendo Switch 4K, because if they call the name Nintendo Switch OLED because it has an OLED screen, why not call it Nintendo Switch 4K?
You know what scares me when you say, by the way, I would
well,
love,
and they
I
did
would
the
love
3DS too.
Yeah, I would love for an upgraded platform, by the way. Like next spring, that'd be great. But you know what scares me when you say that? All I think to myself is, well, there goes my shot at a Zelda edition Switch.
Right. Because they're not going to do
They're not going to do that with the new
hardware.
system. They got to worry about getting enough hardware made. So it's kind of like we'll get some Joy-Con probably, but okay.
But would you not rather have a non-Zelda edition 4K Breath of the Wild docked? You know what I mean? I would definitely lean towards that. But
why can't I have my cake and eat it too? Why can't I have my cake and eat it too? Why can't I get
because
the Zelda
we're
one?
Nintendo fans, Nate. That's why.
Yeah.
At least give me a Pro controller then. Something.
We got a Splatoon 3 edition and we got a Pokemon edition 1 month apart, so we could get a Zelda right next.
So you're telling me they're going to make me buy a Zelda OLED and a brand new 4K platform at the same time? Oh my!
I mean, they're slapping paint on everything.
Oh my gosh! I need 1,000 set aside just for the game.
Maybe a Pro controller is that perfect middle ground, but I do think if they're gonna do the more powerful refresh, you do that. There's no other game you launch it with other than Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah. And Nintendo loves to launch new hardware with Zelda. We can see that in their history. Also, I do think that this whole special edition OLED situation, not to mention the previous special edition Switches we've had, like Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, and the Mario Edition one, like I think it kind of signifies that Nintendo is looking at the Switch a lot more like a handheld device than a traditional home console, because, you know, outside of the N64 consoles that had multiple colors, we don't see Nintendo do special edition home consoles. You know, so they're viewing this thing more like a 3DS line of consoles, which you could argue the fact that new 3DS is a thing that runs better than the existing 3DS, and so they just do new Nintendo Switch, same logo and everything. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean that could be something. I can see that. Unfortunately, I can see that. Very possible.
Okay. Before we continue, because we're having a lot of fun with this topic, I want to give a big shout out to all of you guys watching the live show. About 5 minutes ago, we peaked between all the platforms at 272 viewers, which is a record for the podcast for live viewers, an all-time record. So thank you guys so much. This 5-platform thing might have worked out. Granted, a majority of you are just between the 2 YouTube channels and probably double streaming on whatever. But you know what? You know what?
Hey.
Y'all get a little love. Thank you guys for all of that. If you're listening to the audio version as well, I've been paying attention. We've had a couple episodes get really, really close to becoming the top listened to audio version as well. So maybe this will be the one that gets there.
Yep.
And update on that, I did crush out the last how many things I just
Like
emailed to Nate, so hopefully he gets them up soon.
The audio version we're behind by 4, so
yeah.
I'm sorry, audio listeners, you're about to get spammed, or you already were spammed by the time you got this one. So
you know,
it is what it is. At least you have them. At least you can binge them now when you're working out or commuting to work or whatever you're doing. You're gonna have like 10 hours of the North Prime podcast to catch up on. Good luck with that. I listen to some podcasts too, and they're pretty time consuming, but they're nice sometimes. So, look, this Direct, I think has a lot of high expectations just because we haven't had a full one since February. And the things I mentioned, like, hey, what the hell are Nintendo Studios doing? Does like anybody really know? All the rumors are like, oh, maybe they're just all working on remasters, and that's
remakes and
remasters. That's what all Nintendo's first party studios do. The Mario team, they're just porting Thousand Year Door. They're not actually making the real game. They've just been porting it for 5 years.
Remaking Duck Hunt.
Remaking Duck Hunt. That's right. We're getting the new Duck Hunt. A new Punch Out. I don't know. Like, look, I'm really excited for this Direct, but I'm also like I have this cautious optimism where there's no way my dreams come true. We're not getting everything I want. Even talking just the basics of, oh, let's hear about this and hear about Metroid Prime HD and also maybe an F-Zero and also let's hear about NSO and let's get Breath of the Wild 2. Like, even just saying that stuff, as much as only one of those things is a new game, it all sounds unrealistic to happen in one Direct.
Yeah, you're right.
Even like the Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and Breath of the Wild 2. 3 Zeldas, 1 Direct. Yeah. That just sounds insane.
Mm-hmm. We got the port. Oh, the remake. The remake.
Don't forget Mike's extra hyped ultimate Nintendo Direct that he's swearing is going to happen.
Yeah, they're gonna remake. I think it's a Link to the Past. That's the one I want.
That's the one you want. That's the one you want. I mean, Link to the Past would be cool. I'd be cool with that. I thought they might touch it again when they did A Link Between Worlds and they had that new engine. I thought they might be willing to go back, but I'm kind of glad they didn't. Let A Link Between Worlds stand on its own. But yeah, there's just so many possibilities for this Direct, and I'm trying my darndest to hype responsibly. Breath of the Wild 2 is like the one thing that I have a hard time hyping responsibly about ever.
Right.
Ever. I hear a legit person, not just some random 4chan rumor, say Breath of the Wild 2 might be there. We might get a type. I'm sorry. You don't speak unless you know. Mm-hmm. Don't do this to me. Jeff Grubb, I'm talking to you. Look, I hear about these random emailed rumors of the Game Over Jesse. Oh, we might get the release date. Hey, I can dismiss that. Oh, we might get a Zelda blowout in January. I can dismiss that. Those are random people emailing in. Jeff Grubb is not a rando. I swear, Jeff, if this doesn't happen, I'm not going to...
We'll shave your head.
I'm not going to fawn you.
Wait.
I'm not going to go out back and beat you with a baseball bat. But I am going to have a serious DM heading your way saying, don't do this to me again. Never mention Breath of the Wild 2 unless you know. Mm-hmm. Unless you know. As much as... They'll be like, oh, but didn't you get good views on your videos? Jeff, stop. Unless you know.
The way we can balance all these expectations out is to say Nintendo is Nintendo, and they'll probably have a lot of really good stuff, but they'll probably have some stuff that you're like, how are you doing this, Nintendo? Like, they don't give us the Breath of the Wild 2 update, but they do give us Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD separately as $60 games that launch on the same day. I can see them doing that. As much as I don't want it to happen, that could... Well, we're going to be conflicted because we're hyped. We're like, yes, both the games are coming. This is freaking fantastic. And then it's like, okay, and I also have to pay $120
right?
To buy both.
For the pack, for the combo pack.
For the combo
And
pack.
watch, that's
Which,
the
to be
only way they
fair,
sell it. The only way they sell
Pokemon
it.
does it every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't forget the remake.
I mean, they could let us down and just make it digital only, and then we're just like, really?
Cloud
dear
version.
God, don't even say that.
Cloud?
version.
Oh no, Eric, no,
Yeah,
you
cloud
uttered
version.
cloud only. No. I'm sorry. If it's gotten to the point that Nintendo's own
yeah.
remasters
Or
need to be
cloud
cloud only,
version, ugh.
it's time to
Yeah,
drop
yeah.
a new Switch. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
right. Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. I will
Right.
get off of the Switch, the Zelda Edition Switch
Yeah,
train,
right.
and say if we have to cloud up
Yeah.
Nintendo games, it's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's time.
It's gonna be one of those. Yeah,
Not
both
about-
games are here, and then 20 minutes after the direct, it's like, shit, both games are here because now I have to buy both of them.
Well, there's one game you guys forgot about that could be Shadow Drop or January. I would put in those.
Is it
either
Advance Wars?
Yeah, Advance Wars. Either Shadow Drop or
Yeah, you're right.
January.
I think it's
So-
January.
Yeah, because we need something for it to be in the year. You know,
They usually
January.
have something in January. I think it'll be. I mean, it could be December, I suppose, but I think January. I think people are kind of, even though it's not really over, people are kind of done paying attention to what's happening over there. So I think they can get away with dropping it in January.
Yeah, one thing we learned is that something is not done when it's actually done. It's done when people stop paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Does that mean we get?
At least
does
in the
that mean
world
we
of the
get
internet.
GoldenEye this year too? Do you think?
Oh my god!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's at the direct too. That's at Mike's direct too.
oh yeah, non-exciting. No, the Jeff Grubb said, "Oh, non-exciting third-party games like It Takes Two and remastered GoldenEye."
Yeah, right.
What? What?
Guarantee it. That's at Mike's direct too.
That's what Mike said.
Guarantee it.
Anything you've ever wanted at a direct, Mike guarantees it.
Yep.
I guarantee it. It's gonna
Guarantee
happen.
it.
Let me tell you what's really gonna happen. We're gonna get one Nintendo game, and then everything else is gonna be like third-party games.
But Mike, I thought you said we're getting Mario and Metroid Prime 4 and Metroid Prime Trilogy and Breath of the Wild 2 and a remastered Zelda game that's not currently being talked about, all at the same direct. Why are you backtracking?
I take it back. Yeah, you're right. I'll recant.
No,
it.
no, 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 no. You just misheard him.
No,
You just
realism
misheard him.
washing over him.
You just misheard him. He said Smario. And
Mario.
I am running out of coffee, so it's not working. Listen. This will be the best direct that you've ever laid your eyes on. I guarantee you will be crying after it's done. You will be on your feet, giving it a standing O when it's done.
I mean, I saw Mecha Reggie destroy the crowd with laser eyes.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that wasn't even a game announcement, and that hyped me up.
That was cheesy.
That was cheesy. Damn it! I like cheesy. That's my problem. I really like. That's why I like the original Mario Bros. Movie. I think the animated film's got a lot to stand up to because I think that is a masterpiece, and I know nobody else agrees with me. And I just lost all of my street cred, as if there's street cred on the internet. I don't even know how that works.
Just check the viewer count, and it's down to
unsubscribe.
nothing.
Well, we lost 40 people watching.
Everybody clicked off. You killed
everybody
the stream,
clicked
Nate. As
Oh,
long as they
man.
don't bring back Bowser from the original movie.
Oh, he was great.
Oh,
give me the little McDonald's toy bomb again, and
Wow.
Live action
Really
Mario,
high
two
budget on
things
that
don't
one there.
belong together.
I wonder if Nintendo will ban me if I stream that movie on a channel.
I had no idea. I don't know if Nintendo's trying to pretend it didn't exist, so maybe you're okay.
They completely ignore that Peach ever existed.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
Yeah.
You a little, maybe a little too far, Mike. A little too far.
everybody on the chat, listen to the Odyssey. Hype as much as you can. Hype until you can't no more. And then when you can't no more, go get some coffee.
And hype again.
Or listen to the guy that keeps saying hype responsibly because I sell merch. That says hype
Right.
responsibly.
Right.
Go buy the merch.
Go buy the merch.
The merch. So you guys have any final thoughts on the direct? Like, you know, the day, just any final things maybe we didn't touch upon, and is there even a distinct possibility there just isn't one? Like, just to keep the skepticism there. Like,
I mean, there could be the possibility that we don't get anything this year, or maybe November, or maybe not at all. And then that where there goes my hype. I'm gonna have to try to find something else to hype on. But in all honesty, guys, the more important part here is that we all have fun. We enjoy our games. We enjoy the direct if it happens. If not, then we have how many games we still have on the line that are not released yet? Splatoon 3 is coming this Friday, but 3 coming next month. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it's been a fantastic year so far. And I think it's, just have to enjoy that, enjoy and remember to have fun, it's how it is, man. Live life.
Live, laugh, love.
You're gonna live, laugh, love.
Oh,
I
God.
was waiting for it.
No, wait, that's not my saying. That's not what I say. I say two things. I forgot what I say. Wait, what did I say?
That's Mike. He forgets.
Number one.
More coffee.
Yeah, right.
Ping the wife. I need coffee.
Yeah, right.
Coffee.
Coffee's gone. Oh yeah, number one is never give up, and number two is journey on.
Yeah, there you go.
Deep thoughts with Mike Odyssey.
Right.
Right.
I didn't know we were getting that deep today.
I think that yes, the direct is going. I don't think there's a chance that it doesn't happen. I'll say this year, because is there a wild card like October direct? Possibly, but Nintendo, they're a smart company and they want to have a lot of people talking about them leading into the holiday season where everything goes through the roof, retail sales. So they're not just going to not communicate to their fans, in my opinion, for the rest of this year. It's been a weird year for sure, but I just think that the E3 Direct, I think that if E3 was here, that we would have had an E3 Direct. I think we'd be on a regular schedule, and Nintendo doesn't feel the pressure to align themselves this year because it wasn't happening. So that's why we got the split out small events, which also people who some people still like to not acknowledge Jeff Grubb and some of the stuff that he says. He was the one originally saying I've heard that Nintendo's breaking up the directs into smaller pieces this year. And that's exactly what we got. So I think September's happening. Hopefully there's a slight chance of October, and just manage your expectations. Like Mike said, it's fun at the end of the day. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to talk about what may or may not be there, but you can't put all your stock in everything happening. We're talking about Nintendo here. Clearly
Right.
Things change. So
Right.
But if we even get a quarter of what we've talked about on this podcast tonight, I will walk away sincerely happy. I'm not going to be super angry that we didn't get a Nintendo Switch Online update if I'm talking about walking away with Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess HD. I'm just going to be blown away with anything that we get that's around this year that I think Nintendo will do, because October, November, and December, while they're already stacked, I think Nintendo wants to double down to sell new games through the holiday season. So yeah, that's all I got on it. But yeah, I think it's safe to at least somewhat expect safely a direct to happen this month.
Yeah, no matter what happens, iPhone 14 Pro satellite phone today. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a chance that it doesn't happen. I mean, nothing is ever 100% until it happens. But I think it's a small chance that it doesn't happen. So that's kind of where I'm at, just to throw some cold water on things, because why not?
I've been let down by Nintendo a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
whenever my hype is this high, and the fact that Breath of the Wild 2 has been involved in the conversation, just my barriers are down, and I don't like it, which means I'm going to be highly disappointed.
Your vulnerability
no matter what
showing.
happens. Yeah, no matter what. I always tell hype responsibly, but Zelda's the one thing I have a hard time hyping responsibly with, and I love talking about it, and it's going to be so disappointing if not only there's no direct, but if there is one and then that's not there.
Honestly, damn you, because I'm kind of now the same way. So, the hell with you. You've gotten me to that point where now I'm kind of hyped about, all things Zelda. So,
Yeah, look, guys. The bottom line is none of us know. Just because I have a source on F-Zero, source does not know if it's in this direct. They don't know anything other than that Nintendo's doing it. So, nobody knows what's happening. Nintendo's been a really, really hard company to predict. I'll say this: at least they're not in an all-out war with a rival company like it appears Sony and Microsoft are at it today. I don't know if you guys all know the news on that. It's let's just say Sony is very, very, very pissed off at Microsoft right now over them trying to buy Activision Blizzard because it's starting to get approved in some territories, and Phil Spencer basically publicly stated, "Too bad, so sad that you might lose Call of Duty exclusivity," and or they don't have it on the platform. And Sony felt compelled to respond and go, "Well, we didn't like the terms. They said they only guaranteed us 3 years after the current one, which, by the way, would have been the next 7 years. Would have been Call of Duty on PlayStation." Let's just say Sony is deathly scared of losing Call of Duty on their platform because Call of Duty is a big money maker for them. They make a ton of money off the sales and the microtransactions, and
Sony stop being a baby. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, Sony has created their reputation off of paying for exclusivity of things. So it's like really funny to watch them kind of like, oh, now Microsoft is going even bigger than you ever could, and now you're throwing a fit. It's weird. It's
That is
weird.
true. I mean, they have enough money to make their own franchise and call it Duty Calls. You know,
Duty calls.
It's just this is taking, but the fact that this is taking place in public is just, I'm like, this was behind the scenes stuff, but I mean, it's been very obvious if you paid attention to anything with it, in like Brazil and stuff. Like Sony was the only company against it. Everyone else was like, yeah, and Sony's like, oh, there's nothing that can beat Call of Duty, and Ubisoft and EA are like, no, like Call of Duty can just not exist. It'll be fine. We'll just make something else. Like nobody thinks that Call of Duty is a monopoly.
Make your own
except
shit, Sony.
exactly. That's what I've been saying. I'm like, you have enough money. Just create something that outsells.
They
Call of Duty.
literally own Bungie.
Yeah.
Yeah, competition is good, but that it is interesting to see them fight tooth and nail because I think they know what it's going to do to them long term. I mean, if Sony, even if Call of Duty is on PlayStation consoles and Xbox just throws it on Game Pass and they do little day one perks for being on Xbox or
It's happening.
betas,
Oh, it's happening.
Oh, they're bringing over that fan base. All the hardcore COD players are going over to Xbox, even though it's available on Sony. Yeah. And so Microsoft knows what they're doing. They spent their $68 billion well. And I think they're gonna get
they didn't spend that kind of money to not reap this. I was like, oh, like Phil Spencer. Oh, well, of course we leave it on. So I'm like, yeah, one, there's a contract. You have to. But as soon as that contract is done, we're out.
It's gone.
And it's very obvious in behind the scenes that Phil Spencer has told them, we're out. We'll give you 3 years and we're done. And Sony's like, no, you're not. And they're like, we try to block us. You're the only one. You can't claim we have a monopoly. We're literally doing worse than you.
Yep.
And we're both behind Nintendo right now. So like none of this is a monopolistic move. Just ask Xbox gamers right now, what new exclusives have you been playing this year? just saying that despite all the studios they've been buying, we don't seem to be getting games yet. So they just need to keep buying more. So maybe we eventually get a release. Although, to be fair, I don't want to cite this. It's, you bought all the studios doesn't mean games are ready. Hellblade 2 look pretty good. Redfall's look pretty good. It's just, we'll just keep having to wait for these games to come out. And I get Sony's concerns. They just don't have the kind of money that Microsoft does. So this kind of move is like Sony couldn't make this move, and they're scared. And Microsoft is like, I don't really care.
Lack of creativity.
But isn't it cool that Nintendo can exist outside of all of this?
Like
Like the original point with
we
this?
haven't had Call of Duty since Black Ops 2 on Wii U. We're good. We're good. Peace.
They're literally just so on this, like they don't care. They literally couldn't care less about what Sony and Microsoft fight about. Like they're like, guys, we have our install base, our user base. We're good. Like you guys, we have our IPs that will only ever come to Nintendo branded consoles. So I mean, fight over Call of Duty. We'll be fine. I mean, it's an interesting spot to be in right now.
I mean, Nintendo's the parent, and they call it, and then Sony and Microsoft are the little kids fighting over the little teddy bear called Call of Duty. Just like mine. And then Nintendo has been around since the 80s. These two companies need to learn from Nintendo. Just either grow up or invest in one of those classes. What do you call that? This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Go to Skillshare and learn how to make games.
Well, I think a lot of it, the general consensus I've seen on the internet is that most people are just kind of like Sony. You know what? You're kind of acting like a baby. You built your entire business on paying for exclusivity of stuff.
Yeah.
You took Final Fantasy away from Nintendo. You took, you pay for it to not be on Xbox. And you might not own Square Enix, but is it Microsoft's fault they have more money? Like they're just going to buy their way into having a huge share of the industry. And it's kind of a too bad, so sad. Not enough people care passionately about Call of Duty to be like, I'm dedicated to this platform. If Call of Duty's not here, I'm not going to play. No, they literally, some people just play Call of Duty. They're just going to go where Call of Duty is.
Yep.
Right.
So
Can we also say thank you that Nintendo's
weird.
kind of buddy with Microsoft?
Right.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if exclusivity and they're not getting it on PlayStation anymore, and then the very next year, so Nintendo Switch got Call of Duty this year.
The worst thing for Sony is that Game Pass makes it to the next gen Switch. The
Oh.
Game
Yeah.
Switch.
If Game Pass, if Microsoft and Nintendo work out Game Pass coming over, Sony's going to be shaking in their boots. Like that combination of Switch and Game Pass, because to be fair, guys, Microsoft doesn't care if Xbox sells well; they care that Game Pass grows.
Yep.
Right.
And if they compare Game Pass with Nintendo, I mean, it's over.
Right.
If Nintendo would allow it, Microsoft would throw it on there tomorrow because
Oh,
it's more of a Nintendo thing. Like, wait a minute, how many free
revenue
games are you putting on our
splits
service?
and Xbox Live versus Nintendo accounts. There's a lot of ins and outs there, but if they could somehow work that all out down the line on a future platform, it's just. Imagine the possibilities of even like, and Microsoft would probably even have it be like, hey, and it's all cross save. So you're playing the game on the Switch, come home on your Xbox and your 4K TV, bam, you can just play it right there. Like you just got off your Switch and here's your save file already, ready to go. Like
Microsoft's going to slip their Xbox logo onto the corner of the next Switch. No.
Right.
I doubt Microsoft will say no if Nintendo wants just a little bit of the cut.
There'll be some sort of agreement.
Yeah, for every install on the
it's
Switch
the-
for that 100 million accounts on the Switch.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I still don't, all that said, and Microsoft and Nintendo working good together, I still don't think it'll happen. I think
No,
Nintendo
I don't
is-
either.
They're such like they're gonna Microsoft's gonna be extra friendly with them, and Nintendo's not gonna be as friendly back because
haven't been.
they've always done their own thing.
And Nintendo hasn't been. Everyone's like, man, Microsoft's better together update and this and that, and Nintendo hasn't given them anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
plan to. Did you see them say, oh, you know what? You let Ori come over here. That was nice. Here, have Golf Story. Nope. Still exclusive to the Switch. You want snipper clips? Nice try. Still exclusive to the Switch. Cadence of Hyrule. Oh no, that's got Zelda. You don't even ask.
Right.
I guarantee we'll see Game Pass on this next Nintendo Direct.
Oh my, there we go.
No. And the Switch 2 or Switch Pro is not even that. It's the X Switch.
The Switch.
Yep.
the X-
And it's got both Microsoft's and Microsoft and Nintendo's Switch the logos on them. Yep, it's the X Switch.
We're off the rails as bad as that original Zelda game that we talked about that got canceled.
Well, no, I actually, this is kind of a secret third topic I just kind of wanted to bring up towards the end. Just to get a few little thoughts on it, because I find the situation to be a little bit hilarious. But it is kind of funny that, like, as Nintendo, we're just on the outside, looking in. I mean, I play on all the systems, but Nintendo, the company, is just like has to be looking at this and going, man, this is kind of funny. Meanwhile, we were named the richest company in Japan in 2020, so I think we're doing all right.
We're just skipping in the bank.
I gotta say this, man. Microsoft, really, they are such a great company. I love Microsoft for what they're doing because, man, right now they're leading the pack when it comes to offering their subscribers what they want. You know what I mean?
You're talking about Game Pass in particular?
Game Pass, and all of a sudden a new game just drops on Game Pass. You don't have to spend $60 on it. I'm gonna open a Xbox Academy.
Well, Game Pass is
shout out to
brilliant.
them.
But yeah.
Shout out to them for backwards compatibility. I mean, the Series X, you can pop an original Xbox disc in from 20 plus
NFL
years
2K5 works, baby.
It's
Crazy, man.
Still gotta find mine.
You don't see that. I mean, that's one company that when people talk about game preservation, that's the first one that comes to mind because it does seem like they actually care.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, they're just like Apple.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm feeling about all of this massive $1 trillion corporation love running around here. Like, I'm just kind of like, should we be just
Fine then.
praising all
Eat
these
the rich.
all these $100 billion trillion companies, how amazing they are and how pro-consumer they are? Is they
It's all
got
for the
rich
love of
off
gaming.
milking us?
All for the love of gaming.
All for the love of
Fine then, eat the rich.
eat the rich.
Eat the rich.
Anyways, it's an interesting move going on. And it is funny to watch Nintendo exist on the outside. Nintendo made a bet with Wii back in the day, in my opinion, that, hey, you know what? Screw everyone else. We're going to survive on our own. We're going to do our own thing. We don't need third-party games. And if we want them, we'll pay for them. But we don't need them. And look at today in 2022 with Sony buying up studios and Microsoft buying up studios. And they're getting in this kind of bidding war as it's getting more and more expensive to make games and exclusivity and services. And here Nintendo is, we just need ourselves and ourselves. And we'll be successful without anybody else.
Best IPs in the world.
Still. And they're expanding them. They're doing a brilliant job with the Nintendo World, Mario movies. They got Legos now. Like Nintendo's like, hey, we're going to make sure that people know who we are, whether they own a system or not. So
Breath of the Wild 3.
finally got on mobile phones.
They're legitimately expanding their headquarters too and their team size. I mean, they're investing in themselves.
Yep.
You know,
Which is
I heard
awesome. No debt, zero debt company. You don't rarely hear that.
true.
Yeah, they're just Nintendo seems to be pushing all the right buttons. I know their stock isn't always doing that, but you guys don't worry about the stock going up and down. That's just the nature of things. And we're technically in a worldwide recession, so there's going to be some issues there. But Nintendo's making plenty of bank. They're not in trouble. You know, they're about to sell 20 million at the end of this fiscal year, more Switches in this fiscal year, along with like 200+ million software sales. They're about to cross $1 billion in total software sales on Switch alone for the first time in company history. They're doing fine.
That Pokemon OLED Switch is going to sell like hotcakes. I'm telling you.
That it will. Pokemon fans will buy that, and it's $360. So
Yeah.
they're going to be making nice bank.
Anyone? I got to throw this out there. Anyone notice that maybe there should be a smidge of criticism that they're charging $10 more?
I think
You're
that's
not even getting anything extra. You're just getting the Switch OLED.
That's what's going around. Haven't you seen the PS5 lately? You either buy it here with Horizon now because that's the only one that's in stock, or you pay more anywhere else in the world.
loophole. Oh yeah, we're not gonna raise the price. We're just gonna have some paint on it, and then they'll charge a little more for it.
Oculus Quest 2 went up $100 in price point. Like, it is just a crazy time that we're talking about stuff like this.
So, we're not raising the price of OLED, but we're going to start releasing all these special editions. You really want rapid fire and raise the price on those special editions.
And
magically, you'll find more Pokemon ones on day one, and Pokemon comes out, then you will find Switch OLEDs. Have a good day.
And knowing that they're targeting the double dip crowd, they're targeting people that probably already have an OLED or haven't upgraded to the OLED, and they're like, well, okay, damn it, now Pokemon's out, I gotta get it.
Finally, we're doing the cool special editions regularly, so.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's crazy,
and again, if I don't get a Zelda one, I'm going to cry.
I'm telling you, it's coming out.
I'm surprised they didn't do it with Link's Awakening. Like, I thought Link's Awakening was kind of like the look. If you're not going to, if hardware releases are going to screw things up, Link's Awakening is 2019. Could have gave us some cool retro themed, sprite Zelda thing, and they just said, nah, we'll wait till Skyward Sword Joy-Cons, the ones that are already drifting for everyone, so we just put them in a case and forget.
I guarantee we're gonna get a Switch for the
You've been guaranteeing an awful lot today, Mike. I think you've either had too much coffee or not enough.
Yeah.
I'm just in a
He's in a giving mood.
Giving a hype giving mood, and overhype.
Yeah.
So all I know is next week when the podcast drops, and it's after a direct, and we're getting screamed at because there was like nothing in this direct, and it was just a third-party showcase.
Well, listen, this is how I see it. The more games I speak out into the atmosphere, something has to come back to me. The more I speak it out.
So you're doing the Zippo approach. Throw everything at the wall, and something will be true.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I wish this happened. I wish this happened. You know what? Guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Well,
because it's not like they have to.
I'll say at least Zippo doesn't guarantee. He's just like, we're getting a Kid Icarus. Okay, cool. Still waiting.
if one of my mentions come out, I told you I guaranteed it.
Right? Duh. I mean, like you keep throwing
Don't
stuff
pay
at a
attention to all
wall.
the other stuff.
Well, it just reminds me when he guaranteed he'd stop talking about Switch Pro, and then he brings it up like every chance
Right.
he can.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it's
I
not
know, it was
called
only on my channel, and then you started talking about it on your channel. I'm like,
It's called a Super Switch.
Yes.
there you go. Change the name of what you're calling it, and that okays it. There you
Yep.
go. There you go, Mike. I love the standards you set for yourself.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful,
I only
beautiful
talk about
thing.
it if it's on the news, or if I make the news. I only talk about it if
That's right. Yeah.
if it's on the news. If it's trending, I talk about it. But it's
But
not.
I love Mike. He's just so crazy and so overhyped at times. And then literally, guys, the moment we get off this podcast, he'll tell me something crazy, some awesome connection he just made with some random upper level Nintendo employee that he just knows all this crazy stuff. Next thing you know, he'll be like, oh, and by the way, now I'm collaborating and going to be doing a co-video with Beat 'em Ups, and I'm going to be featured in one of his 500,000 view videos. And then after this, he'll be like, oh, and by the way, you know how I have all these voice actors and stuff coming on? Well, Nate, you just got bumped from episode 1 of content creators because, well, we have the ultimate creator coming on. Shigeru Miyamoto's coming onto the podcast.
Yeah.
Nintendo. Remember you dropped the Nintendo Con on us? Like,
Yeah. Right.
was it last week or the week before? You
Yeah,
dropped the
something like that,
Nintendo Con on us.
Oh, by the way, it's on the website already. It's on the website.
Oh, jeez.
What website?
His website.
NintendoAcademy.com.
Yeah, it's on Academy.com.
Sunbro Nation, do you even know about Nintendo Con?
Nintendo Con.
I'm guessing that's a no.
That is a no.
Mike, you gotta get the word out.
I mean, I'm not in that promotion stage yet, but I already got the logo.
I'm not in the promotion stage, but I got a logo and I told the world on a podcast.
I know about it now. So.
There you go, Nintendo Con. Apparently, it's going to be a really big deal.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's got official Nintendo permission.
Yep, and I also got a whole bunch of voice actors coming. A lot of panels. So much panels.
Yeah, and you told me I could have my own booth that no one's going to care about.
Yeah. Content creators. I want to bring my my content creator friends. Make sure they have their own area to meet their fans. From here to the point where they have it, I think.
Mike, you might be
we'll
the only fan in Florida. I'm just letting you know. Nobody knows me in Florida.
Yeah, but it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
And nobody knows me anywhere, to be honest. I leave my hometown and I'm a stranger. Unless, I'm sorry, Game Over Jesse is there. He'll just tackle
Yeah.
me.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you have your own booth? Ah! And he'll just take me out and then I'll have to go to the hospital.
Right.
He's a little wild. We might have to keep a security guy around me if he shows up. He gets a little wild sometimes when he sees me. It's a little nuts. All right. Well, that's gonna do it.
And Jake
Wait,
Randolph,
yes.
Jake Randolph comes swinging from the ceiling and just take you out too. I mean,
He would. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in, all of our live listeners, all of our audio listeners. You guys should go check out Sunbro Nation and Mike Odyssey. Do you guys have any content you want to tease coming up?
Go ahead, son, bro. I'll say, go ahead, son.
Go on, son.
Thanks, Dad. So I 5 video gaming news is throughout the week. Whatever's being talked about typically. So 5 news videos, and then typically on the weekend is a topical video of something. So it's a revolving wheelhouse. So the video ideas I come up with right before they go live. So no big plans for future stuff at this point in time, but. Just gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah, man.
And thanks for having me on, Nate and Mike and Eric. Had a great time chatting with all you guys. Sincerely appreciate it.
It was super fun. Well, same with Sunbro on the channel. 5-day videos, Monday through Friday. 3 top stories of the well, not 3 top stories. My favorite top stories. And on the weekends we do products unboxing and just on the weekend, basically, I do the videos that I want to have fun, topics that I want to do, whether it's unboxings or it's a topic on a game. But I was gonna say I guarantee, I don't guarantee. I really, guys, everybody in the chat, trust me, if there are channels that you need to follow, because these people are in my opinion, one of the best content creators on YouTube is Sunbro with the daily videos, and Nate with his Prime 5. I'm telling you, make a little calendar. You know, if you want to start with whoever has the earlier, and then go down there. But you need to watch all 3 channels in one day to get your daily dose, to have fun, to be excited, because we all have our individual ways of delivering our news, but we all have passion for it. We love the industry. We learn every day, and you guys will. I guarantee you will love you. You will have fun. You know, you will love it. So, yeah, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. Okay. Yeah, obviously, as other people said, I got my Prime 5 and all that. You guys know the deal. This is my podcast, so I'm presuming most people know who the hell I am. And if you don't, welcome for the very first time. And I appreciate you guys being here. You guys are all awesome. You guys make me smile every single day. I am a full-time YouTuber now, so just seeing all the familiar faces, the new faces in the chat and everything, every podcast. This is one of my favorite things I get to do every single week, because I get to actually talk video games with other people and not just myself in an empty room. And that is awesome. I get to get Eric over, who I basically don't see unless it's Wednesdays. Right. Although he was over a bit more because we were working on the Nintendo Prime website. And then, by the way, we have a Nintendo Prime website as well, NintendoPrime.net. So a lot of you guys know my public business email at Nathan@NintendoPrime.net. Well, NintendoPrime.net's an actual website now. And it's got news. So you guys can go check it out. We have a bunch of news there. A lot of stuff we don't even put in videos because there's just too much news to fit in a video. But maybe your favorite indie games have been covered. Maybe there's something like today. There's something on Marvel Midnight Suns that I definitely did not cover in my video that you guys can go check out. It's just something we're doing. We're still taking on volunteer news writers for it. Positions are all volunteer. They're not paid. I just been full-time on YouTube, guys, and I'm just kind of scraping by. The website makes no money. It costs me money. But if there ever is a day the website does make money someday, I will share the wealth, definitely, because that's more of a perk. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about writing news, because I did it for 20 years, for those who don't know my history in journalism. So it's nice to get back to it a little bit. But I still enjoy the most doing podcasts and making videos and everything. So you guys are awesome. We will have a live stream here at the Nintendo Prime live channel. If you're on the Nintendo Prime channel, be sure to go to the pinned comment and go over to the Nintendo Prime podcast channel, because we will have a Nintendo Prime live tomorrow night, going over, giving my opinions, talking news, doing a little bit of a Q&A. Then we'll be back live streaming on the Nintendo Prime channel, the main channel, on Friday for Splatoon 3. And then, back next week on Monday streaming on the Nintendo Prime podcast channel. So you guys, if you like the live streams and you want to interact with me more on a more personal level, just me, come on over, subscribe to that channel, hit the bell icon so you're notified of all of our live streams and our podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And I believe we're trying to possibly, it just happened to the podcast in the chat, lock in maybe Jake Randall for next week. Maybe a little tease on our guest next week. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. And Eric, he's a thing. At Nemo8790 on Twitter. He'll read your tweet if you add him.
Yeah. That's about it.
Maybe give it a thumb up if it's cool.
It's a heart.
It's a heart. No,
it's a heart on Twitter.
Dude, I can't keep track of what the hell happens on Twitter. Have you guys seen my tweet on Twitter? It's like I don't understand how Twitter works.
I mean, you just did spew a whole bunch of
we're streaming live on Twitter right now, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Sure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you same time next week. Have a good one.